I think every single person in this locker room is a competitor at the highest level. So, yeah, when you feel as if your backs are against the wall, you never have to feel like you got to do it by yourself.
Unbelievable throw. Under pressure. Sacked by Quinnen Williams. Right sideline, Uzomah's got it.
You look to your left and your right, you got guys out there with you that our whole point is to help each other.
This one to Mims. That's Corey Davis climbing the ladder.
To be able to go out and lead these guys, just to know how hard these guys work and how important it is to them, and then you get that chance to lead them. Everything that happened that needed to happen for us, it almost felt like kind of like a sign, like get like a second chance almost.
Gets extra pushes, running left.
Maybe a little extra life to breathe in the locker room.
Touchdown Jets.
Welcome to Talkin' Jets. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my co-pilots. I have Green Bean to my this way, and I have Mr. Matt O'Leary to my that way. Green Bean, how you doing tonight?
I have to admit, that little Carr to the Saints stuff, I've been at the park with my daughter all day. You guys, right before we started the show, they said, hey, maybe we'll talk about that. That was me finding out about it. I just Googled it. I'm pissed. I'm upset. I'm like, I don't know why. I'm literally known for about 90 seconds. I don't like this, guys, so I can't wait to talk about it. But, man, I'm not in a good mood all of a sudden.
Oh, man, see, we woke up Green Bean from the wrong side of his slumber bed. Matt, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, we're getting a little nervous. I can't wait to really dive into dark retreats. I'm very, very interested to see what your guys' take is on staying in a dark room for 4 straight days.
I love it. Staying in a room for 4 dark days. Boys and girls, make sure you hit that like button on the way in. For every 25 likes we get on this video, we're going to pick one t-shirt qualifier at the end of this, or one t-shirt qualifier during the stream. And one of you guys is going to win a t-shirt at the end of this stream. If you're watching after the fact, all you got to do is drop a comment down below this video, and you're entered into next week's t-shirt giveaway. So you guys heard us kind of mention some of this stuff, the dark retreat, the Carr possibly to the Saints. Let's, I want to take us through a whole like sequence of videos and clips that we can talk about, and I'll try to escalate it as it goes. So before we get to the quarterbacks, I do want to talk, I mean, I guess it is still technically the quarterback, but this is Sauce Gardner on Good Morning Football this morning.
All right, well, you got the name and you've got the game, but we don't know necessarily who the quarterback is. Sauce, a lot of gossip, a lot of rumors. You even had a tweet that was taken down. What do you make of the Rodgers to Jets rumors?
Man, I don't know, man. I was trolling. I woke up trolling that day, man. You know, I woke up trolling. I can't speak on it too much, but I know a little something about something, but I ain't gonna say too much.
So I know a little something about something, but I'm not gonna say too much. Sauce has been tweeting out to Aaron Rodgers, to Derek Carr, these different people to try and recruit them to come to New York. And it makes me feel good because it makes me feel like players want to be here. Like the guys on our team are actively trying to get other players here, and it makes me feel good. Green Bean, I want to hear your thoughts first. What do you think about Sauce's comments? Do you think he knows any sort of layout for what the Jets might be thinking at quarterback, or you think Joe Douglas is maybe playing it a little closer to his chest?
Well, there's a lot to unpack here, I think. Number one, I've been seeing, he wears sunglasses a lot, huh? This is kind of his thing, I think.
He was inside, too.
Yeah.
That glare from the... Not used to the content.
I mean, look, clearly he's way out front of, potential superstars that we have, right? Rookie, phenomenon, and all pro and all this stuff. And this kind, the wing sauce and all that kind of stuff. But the sunglasses inside thing, I'm not sure how to digest that. It's been consistent. And I've seen it like 3 times in a row at the Pro Bowl. He was doing it. So there's that. I have to process that. That said, I really do like the way he's kind of very personable, and I enjoy listening to him. I don't think he knows a damn thing. I agree with you that it's cool to have good players out there actively recruiting because it shows they're invested. Now, if you guys remember, this blew up in our face not too long ago. You remember this. Jamal Adams was out there actively recruiting people. He recruited Le'Veon Bell, and then he demanded to get traded, and Le'Veon Bell said publicly, like, what the hell, man? You left me in this abyss. with Adam Gase. Like, you got me to come here, and it was really kind of yucky and embarrassing. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that was real. That said, I do think it's cool that Sauce and some other guys, 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐞𝐞, I think, did some stuff. And it's nice to see legitimate, like, all pro level players on our team actively out there trying to get some help. It's also, it could be a little nod, a little knock on Zach. It could, right? They're kind of moving past him already. But honestly, I don't think he knows anything. I don't think Joe Douglas is sharing with Sauce Gardner how deep they are with Aaron Rodgers or anything like that. I think it's just him having fun.
Matt, what about you? You think Sauce is in the know?
Well, here's what I think. I think Davante Adams is full of shit, and I think Sauce Gardner is right on it. That's what I think. Obviously, how would Davante Adams possibly know that his old buddy is going to come and live with him? But Sauce, he very well could. No, this time of year is all just like, I don't know. It's the rumor mill. It's all the the eyeball emoji tweets. It's getting a little bit much, but I don't know. He's gonna say something like that, stir the pot up a little bit. I don't really, make a whole lot out of it.
I love it. Any kind of like nice positive vibes towards the Jets. It makes me feel good. I love it. Hopefully we don't wind up being incredibly disappointed, because the next few clips I'm going to show are going to make us feel a little uncomfortable. So Green Bean, do you guys want to go first with do you guys want me to do the Rodgers one or the Carr one first? Which one do you think makes for a better discussion?
I would. Well, Matt mentioned dark retreat stuff. We could go that way. I think that would be smooth.
Let's
do it.
go. Right? All right. Dark retreats. Aaron Rodgers, Pat McAfee. We'll talk about it after the clip.
You normally don't really throw in this time of year. Have you thought about throwing this year?
Well, I'm still in the art of contemplation about my future, so I'm
Is that real? Are we really contemplating playing football again still? Is that like a heavy thought? Yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. I just assumed because the way you've given answers, it's like foregone conclusion. But you have told us numerous times you haven't got through that portion of your decision making yet. So that seems surprising to me right there. That's a real thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing, 100%, and that's why I think it's going to be important to get through this week, and then to take my my isolation retreat, and just to be able to contemplate all things my future, and then make a decision that I feel like is best for me moving forward, and in the highest interest of my happiness, and then move forward.
What's isolation retreat? We're just going into a cave?
Are you not going to talk? You're not going to speak? One of those things?
Yeah, is it just you in there? And if you're just in there alone, do you know how many days you're in there? Are you taking an iPad, a book? Are we able to reach you?
What?
Is there good?
It's 4 nights of complete darkness.
What? You go to Alaska?
Not Alaska, no. I've been to Alaska. That's a beautiful state. Man. That's a lot
Are
of
you
fun.
locked in?
Where is it?
You're not locked in. No, you can leave if you can't do it. You can just walk out the door. But it's a darkness retreat.
Wow.
And I've had a number of friends who've done it and had some profound experiences, and it's something that's been on my radar for a few years now, and I felt like it'd be awesome to do regardless of where I was leaning after this season. So it's been on the calendar for months and months and months, and it's coming up in a couple weeks.
So you walk into a room for 4 days, or is it a cave?
It's a room. It's a little house, yeah.
And they just kind of black out the window, brrr, everything's dropped down, and then there's somebody like in there administering like sounds and what we're going through, options. Of
There's a two-way
mirror.
No, like a little slot that they'll drop in some food for you, but it's isolation and darkness. No, no music, no nothing.
Are they recording you and your actions?
How many people are in there?
Just myself. Isolation.
Oh. Holy shit!
Yeah, it'd be weird if you had some random stranger in a corner you couldn't see.
I thought it was a group. I thought it was like a group.
Or trying to battle for the toilet in the darkness with somebody.
So they're the one. So
is there a bathroom, or you wearing a diaper?
I think you can wear adult diapers if you want, but there's actually a bathroom. Yeah.
I wish you guys. I should try to frame this in a better way, because you guys should have heard Matt, Green Bean, and I snickering behind the scenes. right there as we're watching that. Oh my! No, they can't hear it. They can only hear the video.
I wish you guys heard us. We were talking.
Oh man, we were just. It's so ridiculous, and I almost think like the funny part is like. Pat McAfee's like expression, like, what do you mean you're going into a dark room? What is it, in a cave? Is it where? What are you doing? A dark isolation, room? What are you doing? I'm going to paraphrase this. Aaron Rodgers is going to go do some ayahuasca and shrooms for a few weeks, and he's going to come back and he's going to decide that he's going to play football for $110 million for the next 2 years. There's no way this dude's retiring. But him waiting a few weeks is entirely concerning. I am not a fan of that. And the next clip that we play will probably make you all feel similarly to that as well. I don't like waiting on Rodgers. I don't think the Jets should wait on Rodgers. There's actually a poll question in the chat right now. Which would you prefer, go all in on Carr now or wait and go all in on Rodgers? It's an interesting topic because I feel like fans are going each different way. Matt, I'm going to throw this one to you first. What do you think of the Rodgers dark isolation?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts, to be honest with you. One, that sounds like just a complete nightmare. Alone with your thoughts in the dark for 4 straight days? What? No, thank you. I'd be out in like 6 hours. Like, there's no way I would make it that long into this thing. Like the food situation. If it's complete darkness, how are you able to see like when they drop? Like, are they throwing like biscuits through a slot?
How do you wipe? Have you ever been in a bathroom when the automatic lights turn off? I'm using my fucking phone trying to figure out like, one more wipe, gotta go again. Like, miserable, awful experience.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a very, very bizarre guy, right? A great quarterback, just a weird dude. But that's the thing. Like, what do you do now? Do you wait for him to make that decision and risk potentially losing out on both Carr and Rodgers? Like, this complicates everything, which is just so shitty. But I have is he just gonna sit and think for 4 days if he wants to play football or not? Like, is that his plan? That sounds awful.
I see in the chat, is Rodgers going with Ricky Williams to this retreat? That's what it kind of sounds like, right? Like, it sort of sounds like this guy's just like, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm really about football right now. Really got to get my mind right, if you catch my drift. Green Bean, your thoughts on the dark retreat?
Well, I'm different than you guys. I have a significantly different perspective. Number one, the nightmare aspect that Matt's talking about is the goal. Like, that's kind of, it's to get through that. It's to get past that onslaught of madness. It's kind of it's an extreme meditation thing. Now, the darkness I haven't heard for that long, but this sensory deprivation tanks and things like that, I have tons of friends. As a matter of fact, there's a sensory deprivation tank here in Charlottesville. I've been eyeballing from afar for 3 years. I've been just kind of, I'm a little nervous to get in there, but where they take away everything. You can't, there's nothing to hear. There's nothing to see. They put enough salt
for 4
in the water.
days.
No, well, that's the thing. 4 days sounds like
I know you're not getting all pruny in there.
but I've craved silent retreats, man. I've heard really potent, powerful responses from people when they go to a silent retreat. Now, obviously, it's not dark, but the fact, just the idea of not speaking for some do like 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours.
Same idea kind of thing, right? Like a mind and body.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, look, it's on the extreme end, but I think I'm not so. I'm with you where from our end, I don't want to wait until this guy does his off-season freak session. It's like, I want to know. You can do all that shit. Sign the paper. We agree to a trade and fucking party, man. Go live in the jungle for 3 months. Like, I don't care. Us waiting on it. When you go into a dark room for 4 days, man, who knows who's walking out the other end? You know what I mean? He could go, could
be that guy with the rat
Aaron.
Or whatever that he's dreaming about.
Right.
You hear about that?
He could come out and say, you know what? I've decided I'm going to be a plumber. That's my calling. You know what I mean? We don't know. So that's the thing. I'd hate to wait. That all said, I come from the angle where I respect this kind of stuff. I'm in that kind of hokey pokey world. I've had a foot in there for a long time. I've told you guys, I've been on shamanic retreats and and all sorts of crazy shit that I've done. And a lot of it's very, very powerful. Again, I'm cool with whatever he wants to do, the ayahuasca, all that sort of stuff. I don't want to wait. That's where where it becomes applicable to us is we got Derek Carr going to meet the Saints. Derek Carr is kind of my number one. I do vacillate between the two. I might like Rodgers more, but they're 1A, 1B. And I hate that Carr is going to the Saints and Rodgers is going to a dark room for 4 days in a couple weeks. You know what I mean? It's not tomorrow. So he's going to a dark room in a couple weeks, which I don't know, man. I just feel like we're going to bring in Jameis. We're going to end up with Jameis Winston here. That's what I feel.
Oh, dude, the panic is setting in. Don't get me wrong. Like, I want to stay positive, and I know the Jets, like, whole front office and everything, they're buzzing. They think they're going to get Aaron Rodgers, and now Vegas thinks they're getting Aaron Rodgers, and what's going on? Before we go into the super chats that we've been getting popping up, here is the Carr comments by Ian Rappaport about Carr going to visit with the New Orleans Saints.
Stop number one is the New Orleans Saints, a significant development in the Derek Carr sweepstakes. Sources tell me that the Las Vegas Raiders have given Carr permission to visit the New Orleans Saints. That is going to take place tomorrow. The Saints and old friend Dennis Allen invited Carr to visit, and that is expected to happen. It is considered to be due diligence. No trade as of right now is imminent, but of course, we've known that Derek Carr does have permission to speak with teams provided they're willing to give the compensation that the Raiders would likely take in the event of the trade. So what does this all mean? No trade is done, but the Saints are considered to be serious suitors. And of course, Dennis Allen has known Derek Carr forever. Remember, when Dennis Allen was a third-year coach, he started a then-rookie quarterback. That same quarterback is now visiting New Orleans tomorrow.
All right, so that was Rappaport on Derek Carr and his interview with the New Orleans Saints coming up tomorrow. I don't love this. There's a few things to go into, right? Like, the only teams that Derek Carr is allowed to talk to right now are the teams that have sent over trade packages for Derek Carr and that the Raiders have accepted. And now it's the Raiders saying, okay, Carr, you can talk to that team because we have a deal in place. If you work out a contract, we'll complete the trade. Bingo, bango, bongo. And then figure it out. The other side of this is at the Pro Bowl, we heard Derek Carr say, I'm going to do what's in the best interest of my family. Now, the best interest of his family feels like that is to try and hit free agency or at least to lock in the $40 million fully guaranteed, which triggers at that February 15th deadline. So for me, if I'm Derek Carr, I'm telling the Raiders, I would totally accept a trade, no problem. Or I'm not sure if I'll accept a trade yet. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not sure if I'll accept a trade yet, but I want to wait and do what's best for my family. I will absolutely discuss trade potential maybe February 16th, the day after my $40 million gets kicked in. So that way the Raiders have to either cut him or guarantee that $40 million, and then the team would have, like the new team would have to restructure it at that point. I'm curious to see where this winds up going. I've been saying he's going to get cut for a while, but if there's enough interest, maybe it's just not going to happen. Green Bean, I'll throw this one to you first. What are your thoughts on Derek Carr possibly going to the Saints? It says no trade is imminent right now. What are your feelings?
Well, look, I fancy myself among the level-headed of our fan base. I count myself in their number, right? Now, I've only known about this for mere moments. So I've also shared that my default setting is one of panic, cynicism, and the end of the world is coming, right? I have to work through a process to get out of there. That's what I do. And then I level off and I go, okay, well, maybe I see it both ways. But so I'm still kind of in the, I can't believe the Jets are going to allow this shit to happen. I'm still there with the Derek Carr thing. But let me say this. And I've gotten into numerous debates about this. I have said unequivocally that there is no way in hell the Raiders are going to cut Derek Carr. It's not happening. They will work out whatever finances are guaranteed on the 15th. They'll work that into the deal with it. Whatever that has to happen, they're going to get something for a franchise quarterback. They're not just going to let him go. And even if it's a sixth, if they're going to get something for him. Now, Derek Carr is, he's going to probably play hardball. Like we said, he's not going to extend and all that shit. But I don't see it, man. I don't see them cutting him. It'd be great if they did, and then we can go after him. But I just don't like the reports that the Jets don't seem to be all that interested in him. I don't understand that. I don't understand why they would be more interested in guys like Lamar Jackson, who misses, he leaves his team on the lurch every year as they get into the playoffs. Last 2 years, he missed 5 games. Or Jimmy G, he has 1 full season in 9 years, and only 6 of actually playing, the first 3 being behind Tom Brady. I don't know why we would be more interested in it, and it spooks me a little. Now, I'm going with this. In Joe, I trust, okay? I'm going to trust him on this one. It's a big decision, and I'm going to trust him, but I'm a little freaked out. I'd like to see Carr's visiting the Jets, too. I'd like to see a little bit of that action.
Matt, what are your thoughts about hearing this report?
Yeah, I'm hoping the Jets are on this list as well, because as we've been saying, obviously I understand wanting to go all in for Rodgers, but you can't not have a fallback plan. And in my opinion, if you don't come away with either Rodgers or Carr, that's a failure. I think it's a massive drop off from those 2 guys down to my third guy. I'd say Jimmy G is 3. And the reason for that and why he's not on that same level is because he gets hurt every single year. Every year he's hurt. Green Bean said he played 1 full year. They went to the Super Bowl, which is great, but the guy's been hurt ever since. And even the year before that, he was hurt and missed a ton of time. So that's the unfortunate part there. It's making me nervous. That's just my genuine feeling on it is I'm nervous because you have Carr now is starting to meet with these teams. And if the Jets aren't on that list, you are banking on Rodgers to come out of his little, his retreat in a few weeks, and you better hope he comes to you, because if not, then you're staring down the barrel at Jimmy G or Ryan Tannehill, and that scares the life out of me.
Yeah, and I'll go so far as to say I don't think Jimmy G's coming to the Jets. I got the feeling he was probably going to be their second option, because like Green Bean kind of said, I get the feeling they're not in on Carr, which I think is a serious miscalculation, and if we find out that is the case, and we wind up missing on all the quarterbacks, then Douglas and Salah are gone. I think it would be after this year, obviously, but I think that's a really big problem. I don't know what to make of it. I almost feel like they're going all in on Rodgers. I think Rodgers could definitely pick Vegas or could definitely pick the Titans. And I would say Jimmy G isn't a lock to come to the Jets either. I think if you're looking at Kyle Shanahan, who looked to move on from him for the last 2.5 years, and if you're saying, oh, well, there's some more Shanahan guys in New York, I could go there where those guys just tried to get rid of me for the last few years. Or, maybe you go a different direction and maybe you follow a Mike Vrabel and you replace Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee and you try to go for a ring with a Derrick Henry on your team and you try to go that route. Or maybe he is an option for the Las Vegas Raiders and then he goes back with the McDaniels. But at that point, if he goes to Vegas, then you probably assume Rodgers is coming here. I don't know. I get nervous that it's going to be like Carr to the NFC South, Rodgers to Vegas, Jimmy G to the Titans, and now we're, like Matt said, staring down the barrel of Ryan Tannehill, and I'm just going to vomit in my mouth if I have to watch Ryan Tannehill for 17 weeks next year.
I know. It's bullshit. And it would be an improvement. It was sad to say. It would be a vast improvement. I mean, we were talking about it last night, Dom and I. If Ryan Tannehill was on the Jets, the 2022 Jets, do we make the playoffs? Right? It's like, I have to say yes. I think yes. So it's like, it's terrible to be in that conundrum. Because like Matt said, I think it's a whiff. If we don't get Rodgers, Carr, and then we lose out on even Jimmy G, it is a major whiff. Trust me, that's who they're going for, any combination of those 3 guys. There's no question about it. And you might even add Lamar Jackson, and we can talk about that.
That's what I was going to say. I think Lamar's the panic move. If Rodgers goes elsewhere, I think Douglas and Salah, they don't have to worry about the picks, because if they don't get a quarterback, their asses aren't going to be here to worry about the picks or the cap. They're going to go every draft pick to try and get Lamar if they miss out on all these top quarterbacks.
I don't think they're trading him in the conference, though. I think they would trade him
that's
to
the issue. I think he's going NFC. I think he's going to go to the Falcons.
Yeah. But again,
the Falcons are
it all
primed.
depends on Well, it all depends on more. We only play the Ravens really, once every couple of years. So it's not. I'm with you. I agree. I think they would prefer to go NFC, but if our package is better, but I don't know. I think, like you said, I think that's a panic move. But like if we end up, like I said, with Ryan Tannehill, I think this Jets team makes the playoffs. But I don't think we go very far in the playoffs. But we're definitely a better team. We have that kind of average quarterback play that we've been talking about needing all year. We're at a point now where it's like we'd like to maybe improve and we'd like to maybe have a legitimate shot. The team, while it has its holes and it has its weaknesses, is really primed to make some noise. We have done a very good job building this team. We have players all over the place. And if we don't get one of these quarterbacks, like we've made the decision, we took a swing on Zach, at least for the time being, more than likely for good, it's a major blunder. He's a bust up to this point, right? He's a bust. So we have to now panic, and that's just part of the deal. You're not going to get another chance to develop for 3 more years, Anthony, whoever. Like you're not going to get to do this. So I think, they got to bring somebody in, and if it ends up being Ryan Tannehill or Jameis Winston or even Gardner Minshew, who I do like. I think it's a whiff, and it would be evident, and I think the noise would begin. I think.
Do you think there's any scenario where all the quarterbacks are gone? Let's say Lamar goes to the Falcons, and now we're done. Like what is the option? Like, is Tannehill the end game? We're going to go through the season with him, or do you think there's some situation where maybe Douglas tries to offer the haul that the Bears want to go up and get a quarterback, being that he was in Chicago at one point as their player personnel or whatever he was over there? Maybe he's got some ties to that organization.
I don't know. I see a comment in.
I don't want a vet. I want a vet. I don't want a rookie.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. I'm thinking panic mode.
Yeah, well, look, we chew them up. We chew up the kids. We need somebody who's got the mental fortitude of being in the NFL for a few years, even if it is in a lesser market. Like we talk about Carr all the time. He's not made for New York. Maybe not. He's a sensitive guy, and he's been known to cry and things like that, and that's all well and good. But let's not forget, he's also a 9-year vet. Like, he's been there, done. He's been here. It's not culture shock. It's going to be a little bit more intensified. But bringing in the kids right now, Ryan, I'm with you. It's just maybe in the future we can do that. Right now, this team, this era of Jets fan, we need a damn vet. We need somebody that can weather our barrage of insults and whatever the hell it is. We need somebody that's going to come out there, not get rattled, know what to do, and give us at least average football so we can be happy enough to not want to chop their heads off. That's it.
Matt, any thoughts here?
It could get ugly real quick is what I'm finding out from as we're talking through this. But I agree. I don't think you could bring another rookie in. The rest of the team is built where they're in their win now window with all these guys on their rookie deals. You need to have someone who can capitalize on that, and you're just going to have the learning curve of another young quarterback. And who knows? Maybe that one could hit, but you're really looking at 2 years for this group right now. So I think it's a vet.
Guys, before we jump into the super chats, I want to get Green Bean's thoughts and overall opinions on his time at the Senior Bowl. He spent the whole weekend down in Mobile. Green Bean, what'd you see down there? Any good insight?
Oh yeah, it's a great experience, man. Anybody who's interested in this stuff, like kind of covering, diagnosing, breaking guys down, being in the scene, I think it's a fantastic experience. I loved it, man. Now, sad to say, I had a lot of travel bullshit. I ended up sleeping in the airport the first night. I had Bell's palsy, so half my face is dead, and I'm sleeping in an airport. I woke up with the chest cold, so there's all that kind of weird stuff that took a lot of the awesome out of it. But I think it's such a great environment, man. Like what they do, they give you the access. You walk into the stadium and you film, you take pictures, whatever you want of the drills and the practice. And we just when I walked in, we just went right to the offensive line drills. I just parked, set up my tripod and my camera, and I just took, quite literally almost 1,000 shots and videos of largely offensive line, defensive line drills. I got some some routes and things like that. But I was really focused on the line, and then after that, they go, okay, you know, we're going to open it up shortly for interviews. And, you know, everybody walks around to the end zone and you wait. That's where Connor Hughes came down and hung out with me for about 15 minutes. We went around to the end, and then they open the gates and you walk in and the players are just available. Dude, it's the coolest thing when you've been like looking at a player, you know, you see him on TV, you see him everything, and there he is. And you go, hey, can I grab you? He's like, yeah, sure. You know, it's just like, I don't know, because some of these guys I think are going to be bona fide NFL stars. And there's a moment there where you can literally ask them anything you want. And it's really cool because it's a calmer environment. Like, it's not all tense, it's loose, and it's just all about talking football. One guy made fun of, you know what it was? The wide receiver Mingo made fun of my name, made fun of me. It's like, green bean, huh? Green bean. So I was like, yeah, I know, I get it, man. Just fucking, I got some questions for you.
You'll be laughing when you're a Jet, asshole.
Yeah, that won't do who's laughing, dickhead. But anyway, yeah, it's really cool, man. And I plan to go next year. I learned a lot about what to do. One of the things I learned is that nobody stays for the game. No one. It's all.
It doesn't
about
make any sense. It's televised. You can see it on TV.
Yeah, that's what I learned. I was the only idiot that had, you know, that stayed. I had my flight. I ended up just getting in a car and driving home. On that.
How long was that drive?
13 hours. I drove overnight too, so it was like, you know what it was? I actually got a hotel room. Dom and I stayed in a hotel room, and then I got this other hotel room, and it ended up being a complete shithole. And I walked in the room and I literally texted my wife. I called her and I said, I'm not staying here. I said, where was that rental car? She's there, and she rented it. She goes, it's waiting for you at the airport. I drove to Pensacola, got in the car, and drove home. That's what I did. So,
good for you.
13
now, you know, that's crazy. 13 hours in the car, Green Bean. That is 8 times shorter than the amount of time Aaron Rodgers is going to sit in the dark.
I know, right? Think about that.
He's looking for 4 straight days.
I know, and I had just Jets to listen to. I had all kinds of good stuff, you know? Right? You know what I mean, man? So he's not going to have any of that stuff. Right?
Right?
But it was awesome, man. I think you guys would love it, man. And I mean that. Like, if we think about it next year, the thing I learned is the Senior Bowl is kind of like they're one of those, they encourage like the new guy. They they want to bring the smaller people in and give you that opportunity. And I really appreciate that. It's just, you can see it everywhere. There's like all these passionate young statisticians, you know, of the future, just taking notes in there. It's really cool environment, man. It was I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
Oh, I'm jealous. Next year, when Shay's a little bit older, maybe I can sneak away and pop down there. How long were you down there for? 3 days? 4 days?
I was down there. Well, it was supposed to be 4 days. It was supposed to be 5 days, but I ended up being down there for 2.5 days. Again, I would have been down there a day earlier, but I ended up, my flight got literally canceled, not delayed, canceled. So I had to stay in the. I thought they were going to give me a room. Like years, I've been a traveler for years and years and years. It always, when my flights got canceled, they gave me a room. Not anymore. They literally gave me a blanket. I put a picture on Twitter. It was a blanket, a little, like a thin, just the shittiest blanket you ever saw.
A paper towel.
And a little bag, a little knapsacky kind of zip bag. It had a toothbrush, a comb. You know what I mean? It had that deodorant. I was like, oh,
it's the,
good.
Service recovery bag. Oh, no, our flight got canceled. Oh, this will hold them over. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I mean,
give them a food voucher or something. Come on.
Yeah, to be fair, they did give me a food voucher as well, so that did help. That leveled it off. But dude, the idea of service in the airline, I haven't flown in 3 years. I haven't flown since before COVID, and I used to fly literally once a week, sometimes 3-4 times a month. Seriously, for years, and the service piece is just missing. Like the lady literally said when I walked up to the desk and said, "You guys canceled my flight," and she goes, "Well, we can't control the weather." That was it. I was like,
was that was up in Virginia, right?
And now what?
No, it's in Atlanta. I was in Atlanta.
Oh, you were in Atlanta. Jesus.
I was like, and there's more, right? That's it.
Yeah. So when's the next flight out? So you gonna give me some help here?
So
Whoa.
yeah,
I shrunk Matt down. Sorry, I moved my finger and I shrunk you.
Matt, so little.
Little Matt, and he's lowercase Matt.
There we
Sorry,
go.
Matt.
We're back, baby.
There you go. It's not the size that matters.
That's what I hear. I've heard that. I've been told.
Weird.
I live my life by that. I mean,
That's great.
got to be happy sometimes. All right.
Yeah, but you guys
let's jump
should
into
come. We should plan it though,
Yeah.
man. Honest, it would be really cool. And like again, get there for day one, see all the podium stuff. You know, I'll be around in the conference center. Like I didn't see Joe Douglas. I did see Phil Savage. I would have grabbed him if he was anywhere near me, but he wasn't. I would have absolutely grabbed him.
Oh, I was
but
listening to your
didn't have enough
podcast
to-
while you're doing it, or if you were live doing it or whatever. When I was in the car, when I was like, actually, you didn't know I was in the car because I messaged you, and he's like, "Oh, if Ryan's still here, he might be listening." I was like, "Oh, I'm in the car. Duh, he can't talk to me." And I'm like, "Oh, I can't text. He doesn't know this."
Oh, I didn't know. You're right. I didn't know.
I
that.
listened. I listened to the whole thing. It was good.
Oh, good.
The Jarrett Patterson interview with Dom was very cool. I think that was
Isn't it great? Dom did a
Yeah.
great job, man. He really
Yeah.
did. Dom got increasingly comfortable as the weekend, went on, and I mean, he's really coming into his own. If you guys aren't familiar with Dom C, he's worth listening to. He works diligently, accumulating stats and really looking at these players and creating lists and all. He's been doing it for a long time, and I try to kind of. I want, for lack of a better word, utilize him. I try to bring him in a lot because I really value what he does, and being around him, he was passionately digging into this, and great interviews. He ended up getting like 20 something interviews. It was great.
He's really good. I had him on the call-in show last night, and he was awesome to talk to. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Definitely, highly recommend listening to some of Dom's
He
breakdowns.
sent me. I want to shout him out. He sent me a bunch of film that he got, minutes and minutes, like over 100 reps probably. So I included some in some of the interview I did with Green Bean earlier. So if you haven't seen that, check that out later. But he sent a bunch of awesome clips. So shout out Dom C. Make sure to check out his work.
Awesome.
I love it. We're going to jump into some super chats now. Thank you guys for being patient. Enrique says, everybody's all about Aaron Rodgers, but overlooking the fact is the drive still there. DC is looking for Derek Carr is looking for a paycheck and a chance to prove himself. Derek Carr for me. There is definitely a part of me that is 100% on that same wavelength. I very much like the idea of bringing in Derek Carr because of that passion. He has not won yet. He's still driving to get that next successful thing. Where Rodgers, he's in the heyday of his career. I still think he cares about his legacy, and winning a ring in New York would add to that immensely. I am concerned though. It's that fear. In a perfect world, if you give me option one, option two, it's let me know what Rodgers is doing. I'll try to get him first. Okay, not him. All right, I'm moving on to Carr. But unfortunately, that's not the world we're living in, and I don't know. It's just frustrating. Green Bean, any thoughts on Mr. Enrique's super chat here about going all in for Derek Carr? I know you were saying he might be your quarterback number one.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I find it humorous, the people that don't like Derek Carr. I mean, number one, I think it was you, Ryan. You might have said it last night that we haven't had a quarterback to throw more than 10 touchdowns.
It's crazy. 4 years.
Like who the hell are we? Who are we to poo-poo a guy with a 65% career completion percentage, 2-to-1 touchdowns, like 4,000 yards a year? Who are we? What the hell's man? But nobody's given me an argument yet that I find truly concerning about Derek Carr. I mean, there are things, right? Nobody's perfect, right? And there's the 35-degree thing. So 7 games in 9 years, I'm going to worry about that? That's not concerning to me. The New York thing, that the attitude, okay, we can, that's real, and I'll look at that. But I think Derek Carr, Enrique puts up a great point. And Derek Carr, I believe, he's been kind of hamstrung, dude. He's had terrible defenses. His offensive lines are a joke. And look, even 2 years ago, they took a first-round tackle. He was Alex Leatherwood. They cut him less than 12 months later. And we all went, Leatherwood in the first, remember?
Yep.
We were all like, that's an interesting pick. And so like they've been kind of mismanaged. He's had terrible offensive lines. He's had a revolving door at the skill positions. He's had 5 offensive coordinators, 4 head coaches, the dramatic exit of John Gruden, the Henry Ruggs, and this guy is still getting his team to the playoffs, 4,800 yards. We've never seen a quarterback like Derek Carr. So I agree with Enrique. I think he's hungry. And he would love to show the world what could happen when the defense actually gives him the ball back. I mean, the Raiders were 3-5 this year in games they were leading by 14 or more. They lost 5 games that they were up by 14. I mean, how can he stop that? He can't.
I think 3 of them were by 17 too. I think that was like an NFL record, if I'm not mistaken. It was like historically bad.
Right. It's absurd. And then I saw a thing. He had the most fourth quarter comebacks in his career, not Tom Brady, not Peyton Manning, like all those guys. Like, it's him. So, again, I think he is hungry. But I will say I don't think Aaron Rodgers isn't either. I mean, he's got 1 ring. 1. You know what I mean? So I think he would really love to kind of pick a team and, with the big defense, with some legitimate Garrett Wilson level weapons and go, you know what? I'm going to get 2 more rings. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to light the lead. I could see that too. So I think he's right on Carr. I don't know if I agree on A-Rod.
Matt, what do you think about Rodgers maybe not having that fire?
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think it's super important in today's world to get that second ring, which is so crazy because I feel like usually the standard is you win a Super Bowl, you're a Super Bowl champion for life, and that's awesome. But unfortunately, Tom Brady has watered down just having 1 Super Bowl so much by this crazy, outlandish outlier that he is with 7 goddamn championships that someone's like, they scoff, oh, he only has 1. Do you know how hard it is to win in the NFL? Dan Marino didn't have any, Zippo, none. 0. It took Elway forever to win. It took Peyton a long time to win.
Right.
But then Peyton went to another team and won another one. And you're damn right that added to his legacy, because if Peyton only retired with 1 and, Brady goes on and wins 7, like that, that's taking a hit. And I know it's not with the original team, but that's almost more impressive. It kind of goes to show like, hey, like this guy is so great. He was able to do it with this franchise. And then later on in his career in the twilight, he was able to do it again. I think you make that same case for Aaron Rodgers, but I'm with Green Bean. I don't understand the hate for Derek Carr. Now, if you want to say I prefer Rodgers, I think he's the higher ceiling guy over Carr. I think that's a realistic conversation. And, that's absolutely something that you could say and that I would agree with. But to me, Carr is somewhere between the 12th, 14th best quarterback in the league and has been dealt an awful hand. He gets no credit for getting that team to the playoffs last year when they had head coaching drama, the Henry Ruggs drama, and, their defense stinks every single year he's been in the league. He has a ton of fourth quarter comebacks. I'm not saying the guy is a Hall of Famer or this stud, but I think he can win you games. He's solid.
Yeah, the winning or come from behind victories, I think, is a misleading stat. It's a nice thing to have, but that means he was trailing. Like, that's the reason Rodgers and banging stuff around over here. Sorry, water bottle. That's the reason Rodgers and Peyton and Brady don't lead or even come close to leading in those categories. I'm pretty sure the top 4, I want to say it was like Carr, Stafford, Kirk Cousins. It was like that tier of quarterback that isn't good enough to always have you in the lead where he has to come back, but always kind of hanging there where he has to come back. So he's always hanging around. So it's slightly misleading, but it's good that he can do it. Like it is a positive, I think. Thomas Pohl comes in and says, Rodgers isn't making a decision on whether he wants to play or retire until after his isolation retreat, which he has said is in a few weeks. Too long to wait on a decision. Go get Carr. I'm right there with you. We're all right there with you. I don't think any of us feel real comfortable sitting and waiting for Rodgers to make a decision after his little retreat here. The NY Bully drops in and says, hopefully Rodgers sees a vision of playing for the Jets like Luke did in a cave on Dagobah. I would love to see that. Like, manifest it, right? Like, We got to figure out where this retreat is, where this house is, and start projecting images on that dark wall that Rodgers has, and just subliminally message Jets, Jets, Jets. Maybe we'll have like a low volume chant in the background while he's hitting that ayahuasca. V-Man says, this is going to be like the Vatican waiting for a new pope. Yellow is for Packers, white is for Raiders, green is for Jets, LOL. That would be funny if they sent up smoke signals and like the Empire State Building lit up green if Rodgers is coming here, and then it goes like a different color if it's something else. Would love it.
Did you see the Empire State Building was green?
I did for the Eagles
weekend.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
For the
fraudulent
Eagles?
building. It's a fraudulent
bullshit.
building. The Freedom Tower is better. How about that?
Yes,
Dude,
absolutely.
I gotta say, like, I'm not a Giants fan, and I don't root for them in any real capacity. But that's some bullshit.
Oh yeah.
I don't like Philly. Screw Philly. I have friends who are Philly fans. They're fine. Philly, the town for sports, don't like them. Not a fan.
That's right. Me neither. And I think that's absolute blasphemy. Your division rival. And it's like, and the Eagles were the team that beat him. Oh, no, it was it was the Eagles, right? That knocked him out. Wasn't it the Eagles?
For the Giants?
Yeah, this year. Who
Yes.
knocked him out?
Yeah.
The week prior.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. So they shellacked him. It was like 38, whatever.
That was whoever runs the Empire State Building's lights. Like, I'm an Eagles fan. I'm a transplant from Philly. I'll throw these lights on. No one's gonna have any idea that's what this is for. Oh wait, and I have the Twitter handle, the account.
Yeah.
Oh, so bad, so stupid, dumb. Buffalo Jet fan jumps in, says Jets talk 24/7 with the Rogan podcast vibes. Not mad. Love it. The New York Bully drops in again, says, if I were still married, I'd love to sit in a dark room by myself for 4 days. As a divorced man, that sounds like the fifth circle of hell. I have no desire. I can't be in a room with technology with just myself because I go crazy. I go absolutely bonkers. I love talking to myself. Some of the conversations I have with myself, some of the best conversations I'll ever have. But yeah, sitting in a dark room for 4 days, no dice. Nope.
It's advanced.
Nope.
It's advanced. I mean, I think he's probably done like one day. He's probably done some of the things that lead up to it. You know what I mean? He's probably not just going, hey, that's a good idea. Like he says in the interview, it's been on his radar for a few years.
For a few months.
Didn't he say years though?
I thought he said months. Or maybe it's been planned for a few months. Maybe he's wanted to do it for a few years.
Months, yeah, but it's been on his radar for years. So that's the thing. I mean, anything could seem extreme. It's like jumping off a cliff. Like jumping off a 300-foot cliff, whatever the hell is like in Hawaii. It's like that's nuts. You think that's where he started? He didn't start there. He started little tiny jumps. You know what I mean? That's what happened. Little tiny 5-footers, and you build up to that weird shit.
Makes sense. Yeah. No, I just look. Rodgers is just one of those guys that like. I saw it in the chat. He is going to love the New York media. If he comes here, he's gonna be smitten. He's gonna be on the back page of the paper every single day. It's gonna be great. He'll love it. Daniel Murphy drops in. Daniel Murphy says, can't he just smoke a blunt by himself in a dark room one night instead or something? We need to know now. Yes.
Right, man.
I agree. Get this dude like a water bottle bong or whatever he's got to do.
Yeah. Fucking water, gravity bong, whatever that. What do you guys use
Gravity
these days?
bong.
I don't even know. I've been out of the game for a minute.
Dude, there's so much cool stuff now. Now you like, I remember when I first did that back in high school, I was hiding in the woods. That's where we start. Now you can rip a pen in the what's the joke? You rip a pen in the Target aisle or whatever in the supermarket.
Well, they got vape shit. They got little pods. But what we did? We used to have to cut a 2-liter
do like an apple.
bottle. Well, we did the apple, right? But we would cut, we had a gravity bong. You get a bucket, like a 5-gallon bucket.
Oh, yeah.
You fill it halfway with water. You get a 2-liter bottle. You cut it in half.
Or something, yeah.
Yeah, and then you tin foil the top. You pack it full of weed, and you light it, and you pull up, and the suction fills it with smoke. And then you push it down and send it into your body at 8,000 miles an hour. And then you choke for 8 minutes, and then you're stoned. That's what we used to do. Is there better stuff now? I don't know.
I would say there's more convenient stuff. That's definitely a little bit more of a process. I remember doing that on my back deck at one point. It was like just water going everywhere and just doing stupid shit. There's some pretty cool technology. Edibles
I was around. Like it's so acceptable now. Like you said, I used to have to hide. I had to hide.
Yeah. What's crazy is that we lived through the Prohibition era. That's what this was.
Yeah.
Right?
I used to go hang out. We used to hang out I used to literally hang out. This is going to sound crazy. Literally hang out inside sewer pipes under the town. Like we used to walk into these big sewer pipes that were like, I don't know, 4 feet high. And we would go in there just to smoke weed, just so we could smoke and drink, not be bothered by the cops.
When we were in, I don't know if this was high school or early college, we had a few people over, and we had one of those cozy coop. I think it was called a cozy coop. It was one of those little tiny houses with like the green roof, like plastic little kid playhouse thing. We used to put all our pool stuff in there because it was like from when we were kids. My buddy and I got the idea of like putting garbage bags over the windows and just hiding in there and hotboxing the little like. It's ridiculous. Ugh.
Yeah, now everybody's high.
Yeah,
everywhere I go, it smells like weed everywhere.
It's crazy. I don't smoke. I've actually never smoked. Just not something that appeals to me. I'm not against it, but I feel it's like I'm the outlier there. I feel like it used to be like, oh my god, this thing where you smoke weed. Oh my god, let me clutch my pearls. But now it's like, oh, you don't? Like, I'm the weird one now.
That's weird.
It's true.
It's like, wait a second.
True. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, because like now in Charlottesville, we have like these outside malls and everything, and there's now these dispensaries, right? And like everywhere that you go, it literally smells like weed, and there's everybody just on these little pens. Like, I want to assure you guys, I'm boring. This is just old Jewel gas station shit. You know what I mean? But it's like I see, I'm like, oh, he's like, they're like 19. They're pumping, like, and I smell weed, and I'm like, oh man, that's what's happening. Everybody.
Think about how New York City used to smell before this. It smelled like urine. Now it just smells like pot.
Right.
It smells way better.
Definite improvement, right? It's a good point. That's a very good point.
Steps in the right direction.
Right.
Daniel, see what you started here? Now we go on side tangents. Let's see. Daniel Murphy. Who was next? I think the NY Bully had one. Bam! All right. NY Bully says, could you really see Rodgers playing for McDaniels? I think that's definitely a weird point for me too, because the Patriot way and like everything that McDaniels kind of does and all the Patriot coaches that have been around the league, that does not scream Rodgers at all. Not to mention having to learn a new offense at 38 years old. That sounds horrible. I think like for me, the Jets just make all the damn sense in the world. The only 3 things I can possibly think of for Rodgers to go to Vegas, it's $11 million difference in the contract because the way his bonus is structured, it all hits in one lump sum. So it's not a base salary that gets spread across all your games based on what state you play in. He still has that, but it's very, very tiny. It's like $1 million or whatever it is. And then, so it's all going to get taxed at New Jersey tax rate. So he's losing $11 million just by signing here. He has his buddy Devontae Adams over in Vegas, and he's also more of a West Coast guy than he is an East Coast guy. Those are like 3 major things that I think we have going against us right now, even though we have Hackett, even though we have a better defense, even though like, you know, it feels like the Jets just sort of make sense, but I think every team is trying to justify these same sort of hoops that we're going through. So Matt, I want to hear your thoughts. Can you see Rodgers playing for McDaniels?
I mean, I guess Brady did it for so long, and I don't think it's the best destination for him. I think the island, the game's on the back. I just can't. My brain is not computing tonight. I'm sorry. I think the Islanders.
Did you try something new, Matt, over there? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, man.
Fuzzy.
The Jets or the Tennessee Titans, I think, are better options than the Raiders, but like I don't think there's a 0% chance he would go there. I wouldn't. I don't think it's an amazing fit, but I guess it's on the table for him.
Green Bean, what about you? You think McDaniels and Rodgers play nice together?
Well, I have to admit, my first thought is similar. It's like, I mean, he's kind of known as is a difficult guy to play with. That said, I mean, Tom Brady played with him for what is it, collectively, I think 16 years, something like that, 15, 16 years. And they did real well. So maybe Josh McDaniels is just real good with really good quarterbacks. Maybe that's the problem. Who knows? I think, it's possible, but you bring up a great point, man. He's 38. He's contemplating, whether or not he wants to do this anymore. And, he's going to leave the team that he's played for his whole career and all this stuff. Do you really want to go and learn a new offense? And look, they're not exactly stocked with. I mean, they have talent. They have Devontae Adams. They have some nice, they got Waller and Renfrew, and they have some nice weapons. But again, their defense sucks. The offensive line is hot garbage. So it's like there's a lot there. And then we have a major asset, which is his former offensive coordinator, man. The guy that was with him when he won back-to-back MVPs. We're only a year removed from that. So, I mean, I think that's when you weigh it all out, yeah, you got Devontae Adams. That's well and good. You got rapport there. But there's the Josh McDaniels thing in between it. And then you look over here, no, you don't have Devontae Adams, but you got Hackett. And then you got a young Devontae Adams. You got Garrett Wilson, who in my opinion is going to prove to be better than Devontae. I think Garrett Wilson is going to be one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. That's what I think.
He's a stud.
Yeah, I mean, he's amazing, dude. And it's not like one of those, like sometimes you can see like there's those players where they have a great year, like a Jamal Adams, right? He has this great year, but like you look at it and you're like, I mean, yeah, it's great, but like it doesn't wow you. Like Garrett Wilson wowed me in almost every single game. There was at least a moment where I went, wow. Like remember when opening day they were not using him. Remember they were using Lawrence Cager all day. And it was 3rd and 18, 3rd and 19, and they throw it to Garrett Wilson, and he makes 3-4 guys miss, and he's a yard. Like, we literally went, wow. Like, what was that? We want more of that. We haven't seen that here. And he did that shit all year. So it's a different kind of confidence I have in his ability to prolong this, this type of success than I see with some other players where you kind of, maybe they continue it, but it very, realistically could be just a good year. You know what I mean? I don't see that with Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson is a bona fide stud. I can't say enough good things about him. So I think that could be attractive too when you couple that with Hackett. That's a big one for us. And I think it had to be at least in the reasoning why we hired him. One of those reasons had to be Aaron Rodgers.
I agree. Guy Fisher, thank you so much for becoming a member of the channel. Make sure you drop some JETS in the chat for those new emojis that you got. Guys, show our boy some love. Green Bean, this one's for you. Tony Alexio drops in, says, thanks, Green Bean. Weed Whacker is great. I'm 61. Does Manscaped sell enhancement pills? Yours truly, Mr. Softy. P.S. The Strevler package.
Tony Alexio. He goes, Mr. Soft. Oh, you're funny, man. I'll tell you what. This Tony Alexio guy, in the very, very beginning, I think I wasn't getting the joke, right? And I almost banned this guy. I was like, one day I was like, I had it. And then I just didn't. And he has become one of my absolute favorite posters in the chat, man. Like he tickles me to death. I think you're the funniest dude out there, man. I really do. Good. I'm glad you're not walking around with fucking ape-like nose hairs anymore. That's nice to hear. It's a positive.
It sounds like he needs a little blue pill. That's all right, dude. It's okay. No shame in that.
We'll
game.
get there.
Yep. Happens to the best of us.
Happens to the best of us.
Mike Anthony says, do you guys think we go for D-Hop if we get one of the big quarterbacks? The thought of getting DeAndre Hopkins is really exciting. And more so, not even just more so, but a few of the wide receivers that are hitting the market. I think Michael Thomas is going to hit the market. I'm pretty sure I saw Keenan Allen might be a camp cut as well due to salary cap issues. I don't know what to do because, like, Corey Davis to me isn't necessarily the guy. And I don't hate him, but, like, we kind of need his money to sign a quarterback. And, like, where do we go on wide receiver? Because you got to replace him with someone, I think. I don't know. I don't think D-Hop's going to come here. But if we get Rodgers, Figure it out. Make it happen. The cap is mythical. Matt, you going in for D-Hop?
No, I don't think so. On the wrong side of 30 now. He's missed 15 games in the last 2 years. Great player when he's on the field. I just think you're getting him at his, downturn. And I'd rather get younger and go for a guy who's more of a depth guy. Sure, it would be fun to have DeAndre Hopkins in his prime theoretically on this team, but I'm just not convinced that's what he is anymore. And I like the idea of Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson as your top 2 guys, and then have a third option, and pay him $9 to $11 million instead of the 15 plus or whatever it would be for Hopkins.
So Corey, I think is he 10-5? Do you think there's a situation where we hold on to Corey because we'd be going out and trying to find another receiver of ish the same value, or do you think the switch over with Hackett and potentially, whatever that quarterback is more important to have a different maybe kind of quarterback or wide receiver?
I think it's more important to have a wide receiver who can stay on the field. I think that's the main reason why I would make the Corey Davis move. He's missed too much time, and the inconsistencies are a bit of a problem. He's such a head-scratching guy because he's had some really nice moments. There is no denying that over the last 2 years, he's had some really big moments and big catches for this team. He's also missed a bunch of time and has had equally as many head-scratching drops and penalties as well.
Fair enough. Green Bean, what about you? You in on D-Hop?
No. I wouldn't be anti. We've talked about this numerous times. As recently as 2 years ago, he was, in my opinion, the best wide receiver in the NFL. So I couldn't believe the trade. I was very upset that we weren't involved with such a cheap deal for such a great receiver. I don't know. I think, he's kind of, look, obviously he's gotten older. There's injury concerns. You had the suspension, all those kinds of things. And he's $19 million. Like, I don't know, man. I think I think Matt was saying it, like Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore. I think Denzel Mims with this. So I know people are going to say, get off the Denzel Mims thing, but I'm resigned to the idea. I didn't get it the day it happened. I don't know what LaFleur's problem was with Denzel Mims. They made the road harder with him. He's exactly what Hackett likes. I think we're going to give him another shot and maybe bringing in, somebody else. But I don't think D-Hop is the way we're going to go. If they did, would I be upset? No, but I don't think, when we're trying to figure out money for quarterback and Quinnen and all that, I just don't see that type of allocation of resources going to a guy that's his age and all that sort of stuff. I tell you what, they're saying Keenan Allen's going to get released. We're going to pay for one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. He's a good one. I think there's an interesting thought, and for my mock offseason, I had mentioned there's going to be 3 players that I think this team may have to rely on if you go for either Carr or Rodgers. And I would say those 3 players are going to be Mekhi Becton, probably at right tackle. It's probably going to be Denzel Mims as wide receiver 3, because I think you're going to try and utilize, Brees when he comes back, Carter, Bam. You're going to try and run it. You have your 2 tight ends, and then you have Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson. I think there's plenty of mouths to feed before you have to get to Denzel Mims. So I think they're going to rely, at least in some part, on Denzel Mims being the 3, Becton being the right tackle. And then I'm curious to see if they try to rely on Ashton Davis as one of the safeties. I don't love that option, but I think if you had to, if you're going all in on maybe fixing some other positions, maybe that's where you have to sacrifice a little bit. I don't know. Matt, do you think we have to rely on some of our draft picks that maybe we would have otherwise thought were busts or maybe too far gone?
I don't think that would be wise if you're doing that. I think that is too big of a gamble for me. I like Mekhi Becton and I'm rooting for him, but I think he should, at absolute best case scenario, be in a competition with Max Mitchell for the right tackle spot. I don't think you can go into next year and say, this is our LT1. We're not going to consider drafting a left tackle in the first round or signing somebody. I think that'd be a mistake. With Mims, I think if he's wide receiver 4, I'm good with that. I'm not ready to say that he's definitely good enough to be a starting outside receiver for this team. I'd like to see, him prove it, and I would hope that he can do it. I think he has the talent to. But he just hasn't been able to do it yet. I think, maybe it is a LaFleur thing. That'd be really nice if it clicks for him. And who else do you mention? Ashton Davis? No, he's a special teamer who's really fast, but can't really cover or do much else.
So do you think, I just want to go back to Becton real quick. Do you think Becton, we bring in competition for Becton, or do you think it's going to be Mitchell versus Becton? That's who we're relying on the right-hand side.
I think it'll be Mitchell and Becton battling it out for who gets it on the right side.
Okay. Yeah, that's mainly what I was getting at. I didn't mean Becton on the left-hand side.
Okay.
Praktik Patel, thank you for the super chat, says, let's assume we whiff and end up with Tannehill. We would still have the best quarterback we've had since arguably Pennington, anything but Zach or a rookie. Well, there was a quarterback between Pennington and here that I really liked in Brett Favre, and I would really like to get the quarterback that was behind him when we made that initial trade. But yes, if we got Tannehill, you could argue he's the best quarterback that we've had outside of Favre since Pennington. My concern is we did not see a very good Ryan Tannehill in Miami, and it took Derrick Henry to have a semi-decent career with Ryan Tannehill. And when they got into the playoffs, they tried to hide Ryan Tannehill the same way Hackett tried to hide Bortles in the game in 2017. The same thought process. And that's why, to me, like, it's got to be Rodgers. It's got to be Carr. Jimmy G maybe to a lesser extent. I don't know. Is there like Green Bean, Jimmy G or Tannehill? Is there like one you maybe prefer versus the other way? Like a Jimmy G who might be injured versus a Tannehill that might give you the whole season, but he's Tannehill. Yeah. Like I haven't really contemplated it myself, so I guess I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, I'm right there with you, man. Well, number one, Pratik Patel's comment is true, sadly. I mean, that's the sad truth. Yes, we had Fitzpatrick's miracle year. Yay. We had that. McCown looked good in 2017. Yay. But realistically, Tannehill would be the best quarterback we've had since fucking Chad. You can argue Sanchez, right? But and that's the sad truth. But like you said, Tannehill is limited. And even though he would, do well for us, I do believe when you get into those games late in the playoffs, I think he's going to be exposed. He's going to be limited. He's going to be unable to get you where you need to go. And you need a quarterback that can do that. Now, is that guaranteed? No. I think he's good enough to compete, especially if you have the running game around him and you have a good offensive line and the defense is holding up their end. And I think he would be okay. I wouldn't be devastated with Ryan Tannehill, but I got to be honest. Like, I didn't like him as a draft pick. He was a wide receiver coming in. The Dolphins used a first-round pick. I thought they overdrafted him. I didn't like him for the Dolphins. I mean, I busted my friends' balls that were Dolphins fans for years. I'm like, you guys are still keeping Tannehill. That said, he has changed his career in Tennessee, so he's not terrible. If I had to choose one, like you said, Jimmy G's significantly better in my opinion, but he's more than likely not going to last. Tannehill's more than likely going to last, although he got injured last year though, right? Didn't he get missed like 5 games last year, Tannehill? Yeah. So, now that equalizes, I think I would probably go, I would just roll the dice with Jimmy G if I had to pick one of those two, I think.
Matt, how you feeling about Tannehill?
Not great. I would say he's option 4 behind Jimmy G. I think I said it earlier, but I think Rodgers and Carr are the top 2, and there's a pretty significant drop off after that. Injuries are a concern with both Carr and Tannehill. Tannehill's shown that he could get a team to the playoffs with great coaching, one of the best running backs of this generation, and a pretty good defense when they were in the playoffs. But I don't know, man. I don't know if you're going to get 17 games out of him. And then, he's sneaky, also very old. Would you believe Ryan Tannehill's going to be 30?
I think, right?
Yeah, 35. This is going to be his age 35 season, which that really snuck up on me. So I don't know how good 35-year-old Ryan Tannehill's going to be.
Yeah.
That's kind of, that was the age was the piece that jumped out to me. Like, Ryan Tannehill is what he is. He's not doing anything different. And, I think our defense might be better, but I don't think that's going to make him better as a quarterback. Like, for me, Tannehill is just such a letdown from where I felt like we were going to be able to get at the quarterback position. And I think I would be incredibly disappointed, even though it's not the worst-ish scenario, but like I'd almost rather us go the route of like a Gardner Minshew or like, I mean, Baker Mayfield. I who knows? Like I could go a bunch of different directions other than Ryan Tannehill. Like Tannehill to me, is that the 2 years of like Super Bowl push you're going to try and do? Or is Zach really going to learn enough from Ryan Tannehill to take the next step in a year or two? I don't know. It's just, that is a horrible, horrible situation to be in. And I really hope Tannehill doesn't wind up coming here. The New York Bully drops in. It says, chances Biden falls asleep mid-speech or farts during politics. Dylan Gray says, if the top 3 quarterbacks are gone and the Ravens ask us for Sauce and a first for Lamar Jackson, are we rolling with Tannehill or Mayfield? Give up a top player for our guy. If the top 3 quarterbacks are gone and the Ravens ask us for Sauce and a first, I'm giving up Sauce and a first for Lamar Jackson. I love Sauce. But if you're telling me 1 player plus 1 first, yes, I will do that all damn day. There's not 1 non-quarterback player that I would not trade. Matt, Sauce and a first for Lamar Jackson. If all the other quarterbacks are gone.
No. I don't think that's wise. Lamar scares me. He's missed back-to-back years now with injuries. He's an electric player. And I think you can have a really nuanced conversation about Lamar, because I think you make a case with him being, he's still young. He's, when healthy, a top 10 quarterback in the league. But you can't just ignore the injuries the last 2 years and say, everything's going to be fine. He's just going to, magically get more healthy in his late 20s. It's a massive gamble and one that I'm not willing to take.
I don't know, dude. I understand, maybe some of the injury concern. I don't see it as injury prone yet. And if I miss out on all the quarterbacks, we're going to burn through all of Sauce's prime anyway. So he's not going to be worth a damn to us if we don't have a quarterback. Dude, I don't know. I feel like I would probably make the move because I want the quarterback. Green Bean, if you had to make a trade, let's not even say, you could say Sauce or any other top tier Jet player, but that top tier Jet player plus a first to get Lamar Jackson, would you do that?
I'm with Matt. I got to say, I understand your logic. Jackson's truly rare talent. I do not think that he's going to be consistently a full season quarterback. I just don't, man. I said it when he first came in, and I'm not some mystic or anything like that. Running quarterbacks, they rarely last, man. And and he's a running quarterback. Like, there are quarterbacks that are mobile, that's different. He's a running quarterback. He's got the arm. He's a good quarterback. But he runs enough where he's consistently putting his body at risk. And we see the results, man. The last 2 years, he missed 5 games, man, at the end of the season. So what does that mean? It's not like he got a twisted ankle, missed 3 games in the middle of the season. No, he can't make it through this season. That's what we're seeing. And the fact that he's holding out, he's $100 million separated from what the Ravens are offering him. I mean, what are we talking about here?
It's 2 years.
What are you?
$100 million, 2 years. If he wants $50 million a year, $100 million is 2 years.
You want to?
I'll give him an extra 2 years if he'll sign. 100. It's fucking Woody's money. Yeah, absolutely. Make the cap work. 100%. 100% in a league where defense doesn't necessarily matter the way it used to. Dude, I love Sauce. No one pushed harder for Sauce than me.
Totally.
I would trade Sauce in a first for Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, when he's healthy, is a top 5 quarterback.
When he's healthy.
I think that's
2 years, he left his team standing at the altar without a quarterback into the playoffs. They're running around with Huntley. What's his first name? I always say
yeah, but the last 2 injuries, he got hit in the pocket. That could happen to any quarterback. The injuries he suffered were not like running style injuries. Those were injuries any quarterback could have while sitting in the pocket. He wasn't running around. It's genuinely shocking how many people are furious with me in the chat right now to think I pissed in someone's Cheerios.
I know exactly what you're saying, but I get it, and it's facts. You were the biggest Sauce guy. I used it in a podcast 2 weeks ago that my reaction with Sauce is humorous today. And yours is like, I love it. Like, you were.
I was pumped. I still am pumped.
But I just think, like, look, it's not that I value Sauce more than a quarterback. And I think it would be an opportunity. If you had to put them on the scale, Lamar Jackson freaks me out, especially for when he wants $50 million a year. And he has not finished in 2 years. Dude, his stats have gone down every single year since the MVP, and it's concerning. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. He might have 20 more years, in his career. Great. And if the Jets got him, I'd be excited. I would. Okay. But I don't want to see us lose Sauce Gardner a first, pay him $50 million, and watch him make it 12 games. That scares me.
Yeah. The chat wants me to backtrack. Look, you're asking me if I want a 26-year-old. I think he's 26. I'm pretty sure that's how old Lamar is. 26-year-old franchise quarterback that had a strained hamstring and what did he have this year? It was like the knee. Was it like a sprained knee? I think
it was a knee. It was a knee, I believe, this year. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. You guys can hate me all you want for it.
I don't hate you.
I don't know, dude. I think the quarterback, as much as I love Sauce, I would have a very hard time passing. Now, and if you want to make the argument, it's purely because it's Lamar and it's not because it's some of these other quarterbacks. All right. I mean, I can rationalize that a little bit better. I saw someone in the chat. I might trade. I saw someone say they would trade Sauce for Burrow or something like that. Burrow tore an ACL. He missed an entire year. He's missed a third of the time he's been in the NFL. I don't know.
No, that's totally different.
Absolutely. There's three.
Totally
he tore an ACL.
Different,
he missed the entire season.
No, look. He had his rookie year. He's now finished 2 seasons in a row. He's got 3 years. He got hurt rookie year. Now, if he would have came in and got hurt his second year again, yep, we're starting to be concerned about it, just like we are with Mekhi Becton. Lamar Jackson was healthy 3 years ago and has not been in 2 years. That's where it's different, Ryan. It is. It's a different thing. Joe Burrow had the injury, came back and said, he showed us, yeah, I can make it through a season. No problem. 2 in a row. There you go. Stuff that in your pipe and gravity bong it.
I gotta I gotta stop putting every super chat on the screen because I'm gonna piss people off. This isn't even there's no shot Sauce is even gonna be offered. Let's get that off the table right now. You're just hypothetical questions. Ugh. Guys drive me nuts.
Yeah, I mean, look, even if it was Quinnen, I mean, right, you're going to have to give one of the good players, right?
Quinnen would make more sense to me, rationally, just because I hate it too, don't get me wrong, but you're going to have to pay him a ton of money. That makes more sense to me than Sauce, because Sauce is cheap for the next 4 years.
It does.
I don't know. Actually, Sauce isn't going to be, his 5th-year option is going to be a lot more expensive than it was going to be. Which is interesting because I just found this out. I didn't realize there was 4 different 5th-year options. Did you know that?
No. Yeah, well, they're both by positions.
No, not at all.
No, by places you are in the 5th-year options go by selection.
It does, but it's here. This is weird. Let me pull it up because it's actually I was fascinated by it because I did a video on Mekhi's 5th-year option, which I know no one watched because we're not going to exercise it, but I was fascinated by the. Let me see if I can pull it up on the screen.
The only thing I will say while you're doing that, the only thing I would say is there is a widespread feeling that in the next 3 years with the new contracts that the salary cap is going to explode to $300 million, right?
Well, it's the TV contract. The TV contract kicks in next year.
Right.
So they're 10-year, $100 billion or whatever.
2 or 3 years that it can go up to $300 million. I've seen this in a few places. If that's the case, and you kind of have, you just kind of bet on that, then the $50 million or $45 million for Rodgers, Lamar, whatever, then it doesn't become so bad. And because then in 2-3 years, it's actually there's guys getting paid more. So you could think about it like that, and it can soften it somewhat. I'm trying to make it work in my head. I don't know, man. It just seems like a lot for a guy who's never on the field.
It's just on the chat. Sorry, before I get into the next thing. Ryan, how high are you on a scale from 1 to Chinese weather balloon?
Oh.
I'm not, unfortunately. Oh God. Okay, so sorry. 5th year option. This is what I was trying to bring up because I find it fascinating. So there's the basic 5th year option, which anyone would get. That is the flat line one. Then there's the playing time. So if you play a certain amount of time, you get the next level of 5th year option. Then if you make one Pro Bowl, there is another level. And then beyond that, there's the multiple Pro Bowls. So Sauce already has the 1 Pro Bowl under his name. Let me see if I could pull the... so what I found interesting was offensive line is treated as one position. I didn't realize that. Which I guess still turns out to be the top 5 highest paid people are going to be tackles anyway. But so basically what this is saying is each player that was taken in that draft and where they fall as far as their 5th year options. This is from Over the Cap. So Becton, his 5th year option is going to be $20.2 million. There's no way in hell the Jets are going to exercise that option at all. The only 2 players in this draft to go and get more than 1 Pro Bowls, those are Tristan Wirfs, the tackle that was taken just behind us that all 3 of us were telling the Jets to select. We were all chanting for Wirfs that day. He made the Pro Bowl, and so did Justin Jefferson. And what makes me feel a little bit better, and I don't know where you guys fall on this or the chat, you guys can let us know, but look at how many people or how many players fall under the basic or playing time 5th year option. And it's not just the Jets. I mean, even if you look at the first one, like that first column where the Jets fall, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of 32 picks more than likely are not going to get exercised because they're under the basic. They probably did not play enough to warrant getting that kind of contract. I don't know. It's interesting. I hadn't considered all this before.
How much would it go up? So Mekhi Becton, just to move up to the next one,
would be $21 million. Now the reason the 1 Pro Bowl drops down for him, I believe, is because the 1 Pro Bowl is equivalent to the transition tag, which is the average of the top 10 at your position over the course of the last 5 years. And I think because of the way that's worded, it's a funky amount where the 5th year option for his particular spot is better. I don't understand why that one was lower, unless it was from earlier in the season, like if he didn't trigger it. I feel like I looked at it earlier and I'm just losing my mind.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Yeah, but that is interesting. And you know what's funny about that pick is we all said, like, when we were down to those 2 tackles, right? We were having the discussions about maybe a wide receiver. I don't think any wide receivers were taken yet, right?
No,
so we had our
choice. The first one was Jerry Jeudy.
Ruggs.
Or no, sorry,
Ruggs. Ruggs was
no,
first.
I thought it was Ruggs was the first one.
Yeah, the Raiders. They took.
Oh, he's not in here. That was the
Farrell.
12th pick. they eliminated the 12th pick from there because he's arrested and in jail.
Yeah,
he's not in the league.
So we were all saying, like, we were down to those 2 tackles. We all kind of landed on, even though wide receiver like Lamb or Jeudy or whatever would be great, Jefferson, tackles it's really what we want to do. I was 100% on tackle, but we looked at Wirfs as the safe pick. Even though he was a right tackle, we thought, the general consensus was he would move over fine, but there was still that little bit of concern. Mekhi Becton was the pure left tackle, but we applauded it because it was a first pick by our new GM, and it was a swing for the fences. Mekhi Becton was widely considered boom or bust, right? He's either going to be fucking the best ever, or this guy's never going to stay healthy. Even though he had no injury concerns, it was just the weight and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, with hindsight, it's like, maybe you learn from that and you choose the safer guy if all things are equal. Maybe Joe Douglas learned a little bit from that, but I still don't hate the pick. And he's still only 23 years old or 24 years old. So who knows, right? Who knows what'll happen? But again, looking at it with hindsight, I think Joe Douglas may have learned if those situations are equal, maybe it's more valuable to just lean on the safe side and make sure you get the guy that can play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like when I look at that 2020 draft class compared to 2021 and 2022, it just feels like such a drastic outlier from like all the picks. I have a hard time holding it like too strongly against Douglas. That was the COVID year, so it was a little funky with like interviews and things like that. And I don't know. I don't want to hold it like as high as maybe some other people do.
I know. Well, think about it, Ryan. I mean, think about like you said. Number one, it's COVID. It was his first draft, but has he not gotten better each year? Like, isn't that what you would want to see from your GM? Okay, a little rocky in the beginning. The picks made sense in large part. You understood left tackle, wide receiver. He got a 4th round lineman. He brought in a safety. Even though if you didn't like the picks, got a running back, an edge rusher. But then the next year, significantly better. 2021 is a very strong draft. If Zach taints the shit out of it. It really does. But the rest of the draft is very strong. And then last year's draft is nothing short of epic. You know, so he's getting better. So the people that hang their hat like of, you know, Joe Douglas hate on the 2020 draft. It's like, dude, that's his first draft. Like now if he kept going like that, okay, now we got an argument, but he's clearly improved. Like he's getting better as a GM as he goes on. I think it's perfect. It's like what you want to see. Am I wrong?
No. The last thing I think you really need to see is him to start to nail the free agency pieces, because I think there's been too many misses there. But I mean, DJ Reed was a great swing last year. That's by far his best one. But it's a big offseason for him in that regard, with another draft and another with a quarterback decision and another set of free agency. This is a big offseason for him.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I would say _ʻCONKLIN and 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐢, for the amount they're getting paid, I would have liked to have seen them utilized a little bit more. I don't know if that's so much a Douglas issue as much as it maybe is. Maybe it's a disconnect for like, oh, we weren't going to use the tight ends as much, so maybe don't pay them as much. I thought that was kind of weird. Free agency wise, there's no way I thought Tomlinson was going to look the way he was going to look coming off a Pro Bowl season, especially with having Dwayne Brown coming off a Pro Bowl season too, the two of them next to each other. To think the O-line was going to be as bad as it was, like, I'm sorry, with Douglas missing on some of the picks and some of the free agent stuff, like I have a hard time like blaming him for certain things, but Matt, I do agree that is the piece that feels like it's missing from his resume, because he's got the draft picks, he has the trades, he has the waiver pickups, but the free agency is definitely leaving some to be desired. Dom C drops in and says $50 million a year for a quarterback is going to be peanuts in a couple of years when the new TV deal comes in to play and the cap skyrockets. For reference, Daniel Jones may get $40 million a year. Let's talk about that for a second. Daniel Jones, let's say like there's a situation where the Giants don't bring him back and somehow he's allowed to test the open market. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's definitely going to be a Giant in 2023 and probably for the foreseeable future. Where does Daniel Jones fall on your list of quarterbacks the Jets could have under center, given the options we've talked about already, Carr, Rodgers, Jimmy G? Where would he fall for you, Matt?
Below Carr, but above Jimmy G. My biggest concern with Daniel Jones is what will he be like away from Brian Daboll? Obviously, Daboll revived his career this year. He was abysmal in his second and third year, but was really solid for them last year. And I think he's trending in the right direction. My fear is just, are you going to get that same guy when you take away Brian Daboll? I'm not sold that you do. But I would rather take that swing than the swing on the injured Jimmy G or Ryan Tannehill. So I would say 3.
Greenman, what about you? Where does Daniel Jones fall on your list?
All right. Let me devil's advocate this and say the Giants let this guy go that clearly Daboll had a major impact with, the guy who is also clearly had a major impact on another quarterback in his career, at least one, right? So we know he's now developing a track record of this stuff. They let him go. The Jets snatch him up excitedly, and he goes back to being Danny Dimes of 2 years ago, a year late, whatever. And the Giants, they get their quarterback, so they're great. They moved on. We take their garbage, and it all goes to shit because we don't have Daboll. How good is that? You know, you got to consider the potential cost, the ramifications of such a move. I don't know.
So
I don't think Daniel Jones is bad, but I don't know. I'm a little freaked out. Dable, I think it's Dable, man. That's what I think.
So I don't know how to make of it. I don't know what to make of it because I do agree that once Dable and Kafka got there, he did play better. His yards per game went down passing, but overall it went up because he's not turning the ball over the way he was. He was fumbling the ball at an outrageous clip prior to that. Rushing wise was the huge jump. In 2021, well, let's say 2 years ago, he had 423 yards. He had over 700 yards this year on the ground with an additional 7 touchdowns. So when you factor that in, I feel like Carr has a much higher floor than Danny Dimes, but I think I might put Daniel Jones ahead of Carr because of the unknown of Jones, where I feel like I know Carr is like the commodity that he is, and I'm totally good with that level of play. But I think I would risk having lower play with a higher ceiling with Jones. Also, him being only 26 years old, maybe.
Yeah.
I think that's probably where he would fall for me. It would probably be Rodgers, Jones, Carr. But I'm probably splitting hairs with Carr. Greeny, did I ask you your thoughts on this, or I'm talking in circles now?
Yeah, I think you're commenting on my thoughts. I think you're taking my argument and sticking it in the garbage. That's what I think you're doing.
No,
Going around and around and around.
Yeah. Around and around. Yeah, chat doesn't like me today. They don't like Giants players. They don't like, I don't know what it is. It's because I said in some weird hypothetical trade.
We should do all right, really, who's the guy? I mean, the thing is, Jets fans, we can't agree on anything. We can't. No. You know, the idea, that any of these guys, number one, any of the guys we're talking about, whether it's Daniel Jones, Jimmy G, Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, we can nitpick all we want. We get any of them, this team is significantly better, okay? Any one of them, the team is better. There are question marks all over the place, and it's just about how good is Hackett. You know, how good is our offensive line going to be? Can they stay healthy? If our offensive line stays healthy, that's obviously going to be a big factor. But it's like any of these quarterbacks come on the team that we're talking about, we can nitpick the shit out of them. But I think most Jets fans would have to be happy. Even if Derek Carr is not your guy, you have to know he's now instantly the best quarterback we've maybe ever had since Namath. I mean, really? So I think we're hair splitters around here, you know, but I don't think anybody. I think we're just nitpickers, Ryan. That's what I think's going on.
We love picking nits. RJ McPot dropping in saying, would any of y'all debate Joe Blewett or Jake Asman for best quarterback option? Would make for great collaboration episodes since Jake wants Lamar at all costs. Yeah, I mean, we've been bitching about quarterbacks for the last 2 months here. So I'd love to talk to Blewett and Asman about that. I have talked to them about it. But I would say this. If Asman's all on Lamar, I 100% get why. And I would bet if we ask him, I would love to know that question, actually. You know, ooh. I'm going to text Asman right now. I'm going to see if he picks up. Let's see if he, get excited. Mm-hmm. Watch this.
Get him on the
Sauce. Line. I want to call him, but I don't want to throw him off that we're on live TV. I could live YouTube.
He knows the deal. He's out of the box ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's you know what I mean? Look, if I called you, Ryan, and you could get out of bed and you'd be ready for live. You know what I mean? All right, we're live, you know? Well, let me say this too. There was a comment in the chat earlier that I think makes a lot of sense. And it's kind of where I'm residing with all this. We can't forget that Joe Douglas hired Hackett, right? And he's not really going for Carr. It doesn't look like he's aggressively doing. There is probably a pretty good idea that he knows he's getting Aaron Rodgers. You know, maybe that's incorrect, but if we just remove all the fear and all, just look at this logically. You got the Saleh LaFleur connection, so you know they're already talking. They sit on the couch and they watch, Friends together. They're buddies, So they're talking. And this stuff's probably all kind of worked out. Aaron Rodgers has to, leaf through his little processes and all that kind of stuff. But Joe Douglas probably has a pretty good idea already of what's real and what's not real. And if the Aaron Rodgers thing wasn't real, I think we might be seeing more of a push in some other directions, like Derek Carr visiting and all that. So I'm going to choose to resign myself to that. You know, I think they know. That's what
I hope they know. My panic is seriously like, if the Raiders want Rodgers, Rodgers has to say, I don't want to play with my buddy Davante Adams, and I want to go to the Jets. Because the Raiders have a better package. They're going to offer, they can offer more than the Jets. They have more picks than us. Like, what are we going to do? Like, it's almost like the situation, you know, almost in reverse, where like when we had the number 2 pick and we could have made any trade we wanted because we had all the picks in the world. Like, Miami may have wanted Watson at that point in time, but we could have gotten him had we wanted. Like, that's sort of the position I sort of find us in now, is like, we want Rodgers, but it may not even be up to us. It may, like, the Raiders can offer a better package. Matt, your thoughts?
Yeah.
Why do you want to go to the AFC West?
He may not want to, but he may say, hey, I would be cool with going to any of these teams. He may not say anything. He doesn't have a no-trade clause. He's not retiring and hanging up 25% of his career earnings in 2 years. I don't think.
I guess. But in that division with Mahomes, Herbert on the rise with the real offensive coordinator now, and maybe Sean Payton reviving Russell Wilson, that just seems like a god-awful defense outside of Max Crosby. That sounds like the path of most resistance to get into the playoffs.
So unless Rodgers says he doesn't want to go there, if the Raiders offer that, I don't know how you don't take it if you're the Packers. There's a really good chance Bakhtiari's not going to be on the Packers next year, which means you have a big need at left tackle. And if you take the Raiders pick, you're going to have your choice of the best tackles in the draft. If you take the Jets choice, you may not get any of the 3. Like, it gets kind of dicey right around 13. I don't know. Green Bean, I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, they have no defense, and their offensive line is in complete shambles. So Aaron Rodgers, again, there's Davante, there's a few pieces there. The California thing, you got the Josh McDaniels thing as a potential obstacle, you know, like new offense. There's a lot of reasons why Aaron Rodgers could just say, dude, I'd just rather go to New York. You know, he's been talking. I got that inside. Look, I got a true inside scoop, man, that Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson, this was up until a week ago, over a 2-week period, we're talking on the phone just about every day. So why are they doing that? Well, you know what I mean? And I was assured that is real. That is really happening. Why is that going on? So I don't know. I think, like, I hear you and the package, but even if the Raiders offer more and Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to go there, then they're going to send him where he wants to go. I do believe that. They're not going to screw him. You know what I mean? I just don't see that.
But don't you think it's going to happen similarly to Carr, where it's like, or even Watson for that matter, where it's, hey, we're going to negotiate with teams, and then based on the trade packages we like, you can talk to those teams. Or like, give us a list of the teams you would be happy going with, and then we will go find a trade. Like, I think that's entirely possible too, unless he says, hey, the only team I'm going to play for is the Jets. I don't know. It's interesting and it's fascinating because it's such a weird dynamic. It really is.
Yeah.
Fun. I got Asman's text, by the way. So apparently Ryan needs to retract his thought process on things. Here's what Asman said. I said, Sauce plus a first for Lamar, you doing it. Kept it real short. He says, I'm tempted, but I'd probably say no. I'd rather trade 3 1s for Lamar over Sauce and a first, which is totally fair. I'm good with giving up the 3 firsts. Doubt that I'm finding a player as great as Sauce is at a premium position if he plays with the 3 other first rounders. So I guess the idea is, like, you're not going to find a player as good as Sauce plus a first rounder, and you'd rather give up the 3 lottery tickets. But I think it's going to be more than 3 lottery tickets. That's the thing. Like, if you're going strictly off the Watson trade, it's like 3 firsts and like seconds and players and stuff like that. And that was with, like, you know, sexual assault allegations on it. Like, I think Lamar's trade is going to be way more than that. And like, I'm saying, like, a first and Sauce instead of just like the 3 first. If it's just 3 first round picks, I was going to give 3 first round picks up for Watson, with one of them being number 2 overall. No problem there. I don't know. If it's just 3 firsts for Lamar, I'm all on board with no player. But if it's way higher than that, I understand, or not understand. I think this is a stupid question. I'm getting mad at myself now. I'm just getting this whole chat fired up. I don't know. Your thoughts, Matt?
I think Jake is a smart man, and it makes more sense to trade the draft picks than the player. I would have a different take on it if it was the 3 first-round picks versus a first-round pick and Sauce, because well, I think Sauce is worth more than 2 first-round picks.
Well, yeah, but I guess what do you think Lamar would get traded for? I guess that's probably the conversation that needed to happen in this whole thing, because if it's just 3 firsts, I think, that's you're trading 3 players with Joe Douglas having a 70% hit rate, so you're probably trading 2 players realistically. One's going to be a bust. But if you're talking like 5, 6 draft picks, like a Russell Wilson or some type of trade like that, I don't know. I don't know. Sam Aiken, he drops in. He says, why are we overthinking this? Rodgers is a distraction, both off-season and in-season. Carr is an established family guy with a chip on his shoulder. The only issue with Carr is that I don't think he's going to pick us. Like, I think he's going to the NFC South. I would be very surprised. He wants to go where someone wants him and wants, like, stability and all that. And for us, like, Robert Saleh and Douglas may be gone after this year. That doesn't scream stability. We just fired our offensive coordinator this year. Like, for me, Carr is not going to consider the Jets more than the Jets trying to get Carr. Like, it almost looks worse for the Jets to try and get Carr, and he just says, like, not doing that, and just say, okay, we're going all in on Rodgers. Like, for some weird part of me, it feels like that almost maybe comes off better.
I'm going to tell you something. I don't even think seats are warm in this building. I really don't.
You think they don't get the quarterback and they flub it up with Zach again? You don't think heads are rolling?
Nope.
Really?
I disagree.
Why? I mean, you look around.
Douglas,
dude, the entire
maybe if he like hits a home run in this draft, but I think Sal's toast.
Look at their track record. When have the Jets fired a coach early? Adam Gase. That's it. It's the only one. That's the only one.
Well, I mean, Rex got the extension and then was fired.
Yeah, he got extended 6 years. They gave him 2 extra years.
Yeah,
they've never done it.
But you don't think after like. You think after, man, I don't know. I can't see them giving him a fourth.
You look around the whole team, you know? Yes, I think it wouldn't be good. Robert Saleh got a 5-year contract for $5 million a year. Joe Douglas got a 6-year contract 1 year before Robert Saleh. So they're 3 years into the – go on.
Mangini.
Mangini got cut like in the middle of the night. That was a weird one.
That's actually a good one. No, that's good.
I figured it out. There you go. That's my rebuttal. Sorry, go ahead.
There it is. Yeah. So there's one. So that's fair point. But still, it's not in there. It's not something that they're known for doing. There's like a kind of an idea out there that the Jets fire their coach every 2 or 3 years, and that's not really accurate. So again, I think that when you look around the entire organization, the fact that there's even an idea that we're a quarterback away should have more value than people give it. You know what I mean? Like, this team was a complete shit show for a decade. We're completely mismanaged. We were taking the wrong guys, wrong positions. We're overpaying complete losers that wouldn't even play. Like, all that kind of stuff. Joe Douglas changed everything. And now, even though we had that epic collapse, it's not even the worst collapse in Jets history, by the way. We were talking about this, but it's up there. But it was, and as bad as that was, when you look around the team, the common thinking is the Jets are a quarterback away. The offensive line thing wasn't because we didn't put resources into the offensive line. The truth is, what they did with the offensive line was nothing short of miraculous.
I think it's exciting that there's some players around the league.
Offensive line than I think any team. Again, I think the idea that somehow they're on the hot seat. I mean, Saleh's going to go before Joe Douglas, in my opinion, if that were to happen. But I just don't see it. I don't think that's the case. Maybe I'm wrong.
I hope you're right, because I don't like seeing regime changes, and I really like Douglas. Like, even if next year is bad, I like Douglas. I would like to see him stay. I don't know, after seeing how Zach has performed, if he does not show significant growth, or if, like, I know there's no playoff mandate, but man, it sure feels like there is a lot of heat in that kitchen right now. Matt, do you think Sal and Douglas are on that hot seat and are dependent on like how they perform this year, or you think they're staying next year, 2024?
I think it should be. I don't think it's asking a lot for a head coach in year 3 to get his team to the playoffs, and GM going into his 5th year to be able to do it. And there's a lot that I like. This is not anti-Salah or Douglas take, by the way. I think they do it, and I think that they are both here in the longer term. But I don't really think it's unrealistic or too harsh to say that you have to make the playoffs, or we're gonna see if we can figure it out with somebody else.
Oh no, we just lost Green Bean. He must have clicked out of the thing. He'll pop back in. Blitz Crew drops in, says, love Lamar. Can we build an offense for him? I think that's going to be, the argument. He doesn't want to follow Greg Roman. Maybe he doesn't want to play in the style of offense. So Green Bean, we're just talking about Lamar Jackson. Blitz Crew sent in a super chat. Can we build an offense around him?
Yeah. Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it was weird. I saw that the stream kept going, but my connection to you stopped. I saw that I just couldn't hear you guys anymore. So I refreshed. But so I just want to say this too. Let's not forget that Woody Johnson showed us that he has no real idea how to hire a GM. He actually went outside the organization on 2 separate occasions to get a viable general manager in here. He got screwed over by Corn Ferry, and then he got really screwed over by Charlie Casserly and Ron Wolf. It was really Casserly that led the charge. But the idea that he's going to want to go back and do that again, I think is also going to weigh large in his decision-making process. I think when you look around, Joe Douglas even if he missed on the quarterback, dude, it's he's clearly a good GM. You know what I mean? Clearly. And I think that, again, I don't see Woody wanting to start that over again. He literally he didn't know what to do. He had to go outside the organization twice and got screwed. So I don't know.
I hope they're listening to you. I just have I have this, I don't know what it is. It's just, I see the good GM Douglas is. I've been saying he's our best GM we've ever had. If the season falls apart, I feel like you almost have to hold on to Sal if you're going to keep Douglas. I don't know how you let the GM have a third head coach. I don't know. I can understand wanting to do it, but I don't know. I think there's going to be heads rolling. That would be my concern. But Blitz Crew drops in. He says, I love Lamar. Can we build an offense around him? I would say this. If you wanted to build an offense around Lamar, Lamar's clearly interested in playing in a different style system than what Greg Roman had him in. So I think you can. That's not a problem necessarily, or at least he is willing to try and go a different route based on their offensive coordinator search. If he's like, oh, hey, I like Greg Roman and you want to bring him in as the offensive assistant, whatever. Either way, Jets have 2 good tight ends, some really nice running backs. I think Lamar Jackson would have the best receiver core he's had if he were to wind up here. And I think, I feel like you could build an offense around him just fine. Matt, Lamar Jackson, could you build an offense around him?
Of course you can. I absolutely think you can. And something that I think is a little bit unfair to Lamar is when he was pigeonholed in the Ravens offense, they say, oh, he could only play this style. But in college, he played more of a pro style offense than what he did with Greg Roman in the Ravens. So I'm actually very curious to see whether it's with Baltimore or a new team, how he plays in a new system, and if they let him open it up a little bit more.
Green Bean, what about you? You think we could build an offense around Lamar?
Oh yeah, I think the offense is already built. Again, I want to make sure that I'm clear from my standpoint. And I see there was a few comments in there like that. Everybody's fucking freaks Green Bean out. But it's technically it's kind of partially true, right? I have my favorites. I have guys that I think would be more likely to succeed. If we go out and get Lamar Jackson, I'm going to be ecstatic. right? No matter what the money is, whatever it is, he's going to instantly be the most dynamic player we've had at that position probably ever, right? And so I would be ecstatic. Now, when I think of Lamar Jackson with Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, who, by the way, is still a good damn receiver. I know we had a really weird year with him, but he's a talented kid. We all thought he was going to explode this year. It just didn't happen, right? So we got these running backs. We got these wide receivers. I think our tight end room is very, very good. I think Lamar Jackson would be very well supported here. And I think that he would have a really good chance to have potentially the best offense that he's ever had. Quite frankly. Now, the Ravens are no slouches, Mark Andrews. And I think his wide receivers down there get a bad rap. You know, Duvernay, he's had Hollywood Brown for a couple of years, Rashad Bateman. I mean, they're not schlubs. You know what I mean? He's had a lot of talent. The running backs are great. But I still think the Jets here, I think the offense is almost already built around them. I think it would be very exciting to watch.
I saw this in here. I wanted to pull this up. NY Jets fan 4 says, Ryan, look at the Eagles. Did Roseman get fired after the mess with Chip Kelly? No, he was given a chance to hire another 2 coaches. JD will stay longer than Salah if it doesn't work out. You guys are walking me back from the ledge. It's making me feel a lot better. I don't want to go back to like the 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐞𝐞𝐽 or like 𝐒𝐭𝐭 type GM years. I want Douglas to stay. It's been just very nice knowing that we're going to have at least some competency in the draft. But whatever. Blitz Crew, I saw your super chat again in there. I still think we can build an offense around Lamar. No questions. But I don't think he's staying in the AFC like Matt said earlier. I think if he is traded, he's going to the Falcons. I don't know. You guys see any other spot he may wind up, or you think he's ending up back in Baltimore?
I think he's up the Ravens. Go on.
I think probably the Ravens, but to throw another name in there, Carolina. I think those 2 spots, Carolina or Atlanta.
Carolina's good. I think Atlanta has the pick ahead of Carolina, though. I think Carolina's 9. I think Atlanta's 8.
Yes. Yep, you're right.
And if I'm Atlanta, I'm 100% doing this trade because you would think that the Ravens would be taking a quarterback at 8, thus also preventing your division rival from getting their quarterback. So that it's almost like a weird dynamic with like the Texans Colts. Like for me, I think the Texans are going to give up the 12 pick to jump up to number 1. And I think the Bears are going to fall down 1 pick to prevent the Colts from getting their franchise quarterback. I think that's where we're headed. Finger Lake says, love the therapy sessions. Yeah. Doesn't cost you anything. Just throw on YouTube, listen to us ramble and rant for 2 hours. Thank you for the super chat. You guys got anything else to talk about? I got 5 minutes left in this show, and I'm done getting yelled at.
We really went to town on Ryan tonight. That was new.
I got harassed. You would have thought I would have said McDonald's French fries were bad or something. Jesus.
Oh yeah. No, it's not quite that bad. Not quite that bad.
I didn't think McDonald's. I'm not even bringing that up. Forget that whole noise.
Well, I went to McDonald's a couple weeks ago with my son. They had like the buy one, get one for $1 quarter pounders or some shit.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, we'll get a few of those. And they had the same thing for the 10-piece nuggets. So I got 2 quarter pounders, 2 nuggets, and 1 large fry. And it was $28 or some shit like, $24. I couldn't believe it. It was the fries. The fries were like $4.50, dude.
That's how they get you. The burgers are like cost losses. They get you in there with cheap burgers, and then they hit you for like the $5 soda and like the friggin' $5 fries. I went to Chick-fil-A before I got home today. Got myself a little chicken sandwich. Didn't go the full meal. Just one chicken sandwich. Didn't want to ruin dinner. But dude, you want to talk fast food? We're going to have an after dark session if I start talking about Chick-fil-A. Whew. Getting hot in here. Armani AD drops in, says, love the show as always, fellas. Ryan, I support your Lamar excluding Sauce trade. However, JD did not hire Gase. Okay. I'm not trading Sauce. Not trading Sauce. There's no situation where Sauce is getting traded for Lamar Jackson. Get that off your heads. I want Sauce here. Lifetime Jet. Best DB we're ever going to have. He's going to beat Revis's records 100%. Calling it right now. But yeah, JD not hiring Gase, yeah, that's fine. So I guess he hired one head coach. I guess my fear is the perceived panic of, hey, these guys couldn't get it figured out, let's do something different. But I do understand how there's different jobs and they have different responsibilities. And I saw Dom C in there mentioned earlier, hey, if we miss out on Rodgers, we miss out on Carr, is that on Douglas? Those are kind of outside his control. I would say no, it's not on Douglas unless we were beat because of price. If we lose out because of price, then that is Douglas's fault. Greenbean, you want to share your thoughts?
I just wanted to concur. I think if they don't want to come here, they don't want to come here. Joe Douglas has been here he's had 3 drafts, 3 real off seasons. So it's like, he can only impact it so much in that time. We're still the Jets, everybody. I need to remind everybody. We're still the New York Jets. And most of the people out there, all these 20-something-year-old players, they look at the Jets. The Jets have never been good in their life, okay? So we got to remember that. So some players are not going to want to come here. But if it's like, hey, we're bidding for Derek Carr and he didn't want to throw in the extra third, then that's on Douglas. I agree 100% with how you put that.
Matt, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that would be him not wanting to give the extra capital and losing out on a guy is the only point when he would get, the blame for it. You can't, kidnap the guy and have him sign on the dotted line. If he doesn't want to come, he doesn't want to come.
RBiv25 says, if the Jets whiff on all the big quarterbacks, would you rather see Mike effing White development instead of Tannehill and Mayfield? Yes, I would. I would rather see Mike White come back, have Zach Wilson. I would like him as like quarterback 3, and I would like someone else in there, but I just don't see how. I can't see a situation where Zach is not QB2 next year.
Three.
You think you think I don't think he's going to be QB3. I think at worst he's QB2. I don't think there's a situation where we bring in a vet and another player ahead of Zach. I think Zach is going to be QB2.
Nope. I think Zach is going to be on the developmental track. I think you got to have somebody. Dude, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
put it this way. I think we could draft another quarterback, but I don't think that quarterback is going to play meaningful reps in front of Zach Wilson unless he was like way better. Like, I think they're going to try and develop Zach without. I think they're going to bank on Rodgers or whoever being healthy the entire time and not needing the other quarterback.
Scary.
I think we try to roll with 2 plus a practice squad guy.
I don't know. It's not that nuts. I would much rather say we're going to give Zach almost a free season to just sit back and learn and push reset. You either keep Mike White as the backup or you bring in a Jacoby Brissett. So bringing in Aaron Rodgers with or a Jameis Winston or something like that as a backup, I think would be real smart for this year. So if Aaron Rodgers, whoever we get, goes down, the guy coming in isn't Zach, because then it just ruins the whole plan. It's like the whole developmental thing. He's coming in, he's all stressed. People are yelling from the audience again. It's all back. It's just, I don't know. I think it would be foolhardy. That's me.
Matt, you think if we get a vet quarterback in here, we're bringing in another quarterback outside of Zach?
I think it depends on who it is. So I'm going to go full middleman Matt and split the difference between you guys. Because
I think that's fine.
I think if it's someone like Rodgers or Carr, that's someone who they would be comfortable with rolling Zach with as QB2. But if it's Jimmy G or Jacoby Brissett or Gardner Minshew or someone like that, I think you would need another guy there in that quarterback mix. I think it depends on the player that they bring in.
Yeah, I guess if you're not spending as much, I don't know what Mike White gets paid. I would imagine if we struck out on everything, I don't know. If you're Mike White and you watch the Jets try to go after all these different quarterbacks, are you staying in New York or are you going to try and follow LaFleur to LA? Matt.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good point. You might want to leave. I heard a rumor, a little birdie told me that a team in Florida that needs a quarterback has interest in Mike White.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that's them.
Oh, that was the rumor. They tried to trade for him 2 years ago, didn't they? Was that the rumor, I think? Thought that's what it was.
I didn't hear that one. I heard something else.
Very interesting. Too bad he's not under contract and we can't get a pick for him.
Yeah, can't do anything. Should have traded him already. Let me rip through this. Matt, can you go to last week's show and get us some qualifiers? Matt, Green Bean, you have all our qualifiers already, or still picking them?
I got one more. Yeah, we're good.
Blitzcrew says Raising Cane's is awesome chicken, better than Chick-fil-A. Mahomes owns some. So I've actually never been to a Raising Cane's. I've never even heard of it.
Matt did.
Yeah, it's so the sauce is life changing, but the food is very average.
Yeah,
the sauce is tremendous. Yep.
The
Okay.
sauce
I would
is
try
great.
this. This sounds like good. I love me some chicken.
Dude, we have a Raising Cane's in Charlottesville. I shit you not. You know how Chick-fil-A, like the lines are just crazy long.
Bananas.
The location for Raising Cane's, it actually causes traffic because the drive-through line goes out into the street and blocks this main road. And I went there. I was very disappointed in the chicken. I found it to be very dry and crumbly, but the sauce is good. That's their saving grace. I think Raising Cane's was disappointing, not better than Chick-fil-A.
I see people in the chat talking about Derek Carr. Is it true they are talking about a 3rd round pick for Carr?
I would fucking lose my shit.
I would be so mad. I would just be shocked if Carr accepted it before the 15th. After all this, I don't know.
Oh, I'll tell you what. I mean, look, the only thing that would make it okay if they get Carr for a 3rd and we don't get Rodgers, I'm going to be really disappointed. It's a whiff of epic proportions and my first real hit toward Joe Douglas. I don't love everything, right? There's things I think he's done wrong and made mistakes, but this would be a big one for me. Big.
Yeah.
Jeremy Fowler tweeted out about an hour ago. Inquiring teams want to rework the deal, which they believe Carr probably won't do. Raiders asking price is modest. One NFL source said 3rd round pick could get it done. New Orleans believed to be only team engaged to extent a visit as of now.
Oh, man, if that's true and Joe Douglas does not... He better have something in the works for Aaron Rodgers, because if you wind up missing an Aaron Rodgers and you have whiffed on this deal, I'm going to be so upset. I really talk very poorly about you, Mr. Douglas.
I'm going to make like 6 videos just going, what the fuck, man? That's what I'm going to do. I can't.
Just going to throw my hands in the air. See I'm crying to my pillow and stuff.
I know. For a 3rd, you get a franchise quarterback for a 3rd, man? Well, that
Tony drops in.
B-Trav says, what if Carr doesn't want to come here? I mean, there's that.
Well, that's fine, right? Like it seems like the Saints may be the only team he's willing to waive his no trade clause because of the Dennis Allen connection. Maybe there's something there.
Yeah. And maybe he doesn't want to come here and get yelled at. People were literally telling Zach's mom he should kill himself.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't want us to get there.
I can understand. And Samini said something too about the Derek Carr thing not necessarily being a fit, but I don't know. Tony says Zach and the Jets were flying with John Beck coaching 8 games first year. No Beck, Zach, and the Jets crashed. JD, great draft picks, except Braden Mann and Cameron Clark and James Morgan. And Ashton Davis and Suniga. Yeah. And look, there's a few. That 2020 draft was a little rough.
But he's talking about the 2020 draft. You know what I mean? Again, we already talked about that. I put that to bed.
I know. I got it. I see what he's saying. John Beck. We need a quarterback coach. That's what it is. The other thing, real quick, before we hop off, I did mention to Green Bean and Matt through text message that I heard some rumblings that the trade for Rodgers may include more than just Rodgers. So my thought process is on that, 2 firsts. I think the Jets are going to offer 2 firsts. I don't think it's going to be conditional, but I think you're going to have to get Rodgers and the tackle Bakhtiari. I think that's what it's going to wind up being. I made mention of that trade to someone that is kind of in the know, and he was like, I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no. And I'm taking that as a yes. So
that's right, 100%. I heard yes.
Yeah,
that's what I hear. I love it. I would go for that every day of the week.
Yeah, right. Well, that's just it, because like you're not necessarily locked. Like you're not sure if you're getting a tackle, and I think for the Packers, they can say, "Oh, we were gonna cut Bakhtiari. Oh, and we were we got 2 firsts for Rodgers then. Like, that's a really good trade. The Jets can say, hey, we got 2 years at a Super Bowl for 2 firsts, and we got our tackle that we were going to spend a first-round draft pick on anyway. Like, I think it's just sort of like a happy medium for all of them. As much as Jet fans don't want to give up the 2 firsts, and I'm sure I'm going to have people spitting at me right now. Tony says, super chats, please read. I did read your super chat, Tony.
I know. I just
had it on the screen.
I said, we just read yours, buddy.
It was just on the screen. We just talked
put it
about
up again.
it.
Yeah.
What the heck?
I try to, whenever I see that stuff, I try to respond, and kind of keep it off the of your
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do a little odds or evens here. We got our list. Green Bean.
I got the list. Yeah. Wait, but I didn't get.
I gotta give Green Bean the names first.
Let's do this.
All right,
okay.
I'm ready.
I like this name. Armor of God 5059.
5059. 5059. Okay. Armor of God. Got it.
We'll go Ted Kanarek, Kanarek.
Kanarek. Got it.
Playboy 7T93.
7093?
7T, like the letter.
Oh.
93. Yeah, that was a weird one. Then we'll go. Let me scroll down a little bit. Ray Sean Davis.
Okay.
And then we'll go Brian Friel 1473.
And Jet says urinal smoocher 76.
Right,
I don't know if that's a
Brian,
person, but I love it.
That FREEL?
Let me see. Yes. Yep.
And what were the numbers?
1473.
I wonder where these numbers come from. Okay, I got it. Ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Oh, Matt, I can't see your finger.
Sorry.
2, 6, 7. We got an odd.
We got an odd. Squirmy Weasel is the first to go. Florida Jet fan, you're out. Jets forever, sadly, is gone. Harlan Abraham, who Nightbot picked literally 5 times tonight, is out. Wild Wave is gone. Armor of God is toast. Playboy is gone. And Brian Friel is out.
Ooh, 3, 2, 1. It's another 7.
Odds. Okay, L.A. McKay, you're out. Mr. Green Jeans, you can go hang out with your wife now. Sorry, buddy. He's staying for the shirt. The Real Ruck is gone, and Rashawn Davis. Then there were 3. Sorry, Mr. Green Jeans. Thanks for sticking around, bud.
Ooh, chat. First number after Wikipedia. 3, 2, 1. We got a 4 plus. What do we got? 4 plus a 2. We got 6. It's an even, so I think we got to go one more time.
All right, so we got to do one more. David Gerard is gone. We're down to Dick Chimney's Burner and Ted Kanarek.
Hold on. I almost wanted to make a poll over which name, but I think Dick Chimney would win it. Okay, I can't do that. All right. Chat, first number after Green Bean Late AF plus what we throw up. 3, 2, 1. It's got a 7 plus a 7. 14.
What's that?
It's an even.
It's even. All right, Dick Chimney's Burner, you're a winner.
Yay!
Hey, there you go, buddy. You won the T-shirt. Contact Ryan.
Oh, I love it. It couldn't have worked out better. Boys and girls, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Dick Chimney, reach out to me on social media. Let's do my Gmail, and let me get your information. I'll send you out a T-shirt. Boys and girls, it's been a lot of fun hanging out with you tonight. Let's go around our panel, give our closing thoughts. Green Bean, what you got?
Well, I think I'm just going to do like a half-hour after show tonight. I had no plans to do it. I told my wife I wasn't going to do it. We're going to do 30 minutes immediately following this. 10 minutes after this stream ends, we're going to do it on my channel, Green Bean Jets Fan. We'll hang out for a few more minutes.
Matt, any last words for our panel?
New episode of Just Jets tomorrow. We're talking about 4 days in the dark. We're talking about if Sauce Gardner knows anything and answering your questions. Tune in, please.
All right, boys and girls, sounds like a bunch of great content. My final closing thoughts, I'm not trading Sauce Gardner. Get the hell out of here. He's going to the Hall of Fame as a lifetime Jet. Ugh. Jets Talk. Signing off. JETS.
I think every single person in this locker room is a competitor at the highest level. So, yeah, when you feel as if your back's against the wall, you never have to feel like you got to do it by yourself.
Unbelievable throw. Under pressure. Sacked by 𝐒𝐿𝐼𝐻. Right sideline, Uzomah's got it.
You look to your left and your right, you got guys out there with you that our whole point is to help each other.
This one to Mims. That's Corey Davis climbing the ladder.
To be able to go out and lead these guys, just to know how hard these guys work and how important it is to them, and then you get that chance to lead them. Everything that happened that needed to happen for us, it almost felt like kind of like a sign, like get like a second chance almost.
Gets extra pushes, running left.
Maybe a little extra life to breathe in the locker room.
Touchdown Jets.